How does my voice sound? How does my voice sound? Yeah, it sounds a little bit quiet today because I'm using my, yeah, it sounds a little bit quiet today because I'm using my, okay, let's try now. How does that sound? Okay, let's try now. How does that sound? Alright, try now. Alright, try now. Alright. Alright. This is actually one of the first streams where we're going to be trying. I got like a little mini computer here, and we're going to be interacting with you guys on that one. But I gotta clean up my fucking mess of a desk first. Happy Sunday, everybody. Thank you for swinging on by. I'm gonna sound a little bit weird today because it's a chill day. We're not doing the fancy microphone. But unless you guys can't stand this, then we'll shift it over. That looks precarious. Let's try this. What better? All right. We're gonna kill some people today in a video game, literally. So, and then let's. And if my voice gets too quiet, just let me know. We don't have to stay with this game either. I'm thinking about, we got EU4. Am I allowed to play that Kyle Rittenhouse game on Twitch? What's it called again? I forget what it's called. I have it though. It's a fun game. Or is that like one of the explicitly banned games? I don't know. Ugh. Yeah, so... Oh shit, I don't want to play this guy. I'm so bad. You're gonna put me on a... Hopefully they don't put me on a timer. Well, if they do, we can learn about the Trump shit. Because it's pretty crazy, I think. But some people might be like, oh, it is deserved. I don't know I unlocked the artist. Maybe I did. Okay. We're gonna do Doctor. Doctor's a lot of fun. And he's kind of cheap, so... Yeah, so... I mean, if people want to... It is going to be not a panel debate today. So feel free to join my Discord, and we'll chat about the Trump shit. Or really anything else. But I want to talk a little bit about the Trump shit just because of how fucked it is. Look, I'm kind of rooting for DeSantis at this point, so I mean politically, I don't really care, but Stormy Daniels. I bet he regrets that. That was a bad move. I mean, honestly, I think what the studies show that like basically everyone who hires prostitutes regrets it after the fact anyway. So it's not like that unusual. I mean, sometimes you lose your family, you lose your wife, you get kicked out of the house, and in this case, you go through can't even run for president again without catching shit. Nah, people don't like him. And it's unfortunate too because like if only he was as pure as Mike Pence, just on the personal level, the evangelicals would have nothing. They would just have nothing on him. But or no reason, I guess, to dislike him whatsoever. But yeah, I guess they do. So I've been looking into it. We can go ahead and just start talking about it while we kill survivors here. So I'm also going to be talking about game strategy as well while we do this. So what you want to do is you want to go into the corner. And then there's 2 survivors right there already. 3. And then I think this guy's trolling maybe? Because I got 3 of them basically holed up here. Anyway. So, and they can see me. Are they... Oh, you dork. Ah, you bitch. Man, I am out of practice, I'm not gonna lie to you. But we still got that one. Shit, I'm just gonna have to focus on this right now. Trump can wait. Yeah, if we don't get a single down here, we're gonna be in trouble. Because... There we go. Alright. And then we just want to zap in case anybody comes around. And then we got that. Alright, where the fuck is... There it is. Alright, so Donald Trump apparently paid Stormy Daniels a bunch of money in hush money. This is old news. We all know this. I don't even think he denies it. What do you think? Do you think this person has one of these cheap-ass motherfucking abilities? He's really fast. That's unusual. Oh, no, he has a thing where if he lands... Boom! Nice. Nobody denies that. I don't even know if he denies it, like, officially. Other than the, you know, oh, it wasn't me, I didn't do it. We're gonna go ahead and zap him. So, as every smart politician does... Oh my god, this one's really good. I suppose every smart politician does. He paid a bunch of hush money. Nice. Paid a bunch of hush money because he doesn't want Stormy Daniels to... Okay, we got 2 down already. He paid a bunch of hush money because he doesn't want to lose the election, obviously. And apparently, he didn't know that the money was paid. Or at least paid in the way that it was, which was through his personal attorney, Mr. Cohen. And Mr. Cohen I'm camping a little bit, but it's hard when there's like 3 of them right here. And Mr. Cohen took a retainer of $415,000 and perfect. And paid apparently like some 6-figure sum towards Stormy Daniels to be like, hey, don't come out and say that we banged. And then what happened was a whole bunch of time, a whole bunch of, you know, drama later. Oh, that sucks. A whole bunch of time, a whole bunch of drama later. Apparently, he's being investigated, not for paying the hush money, quote unquote, because there is nothing illegal about paying hush money. Like, it's a confidentiality agreement. Those are very commonplace in law, and though they're not anything new. But what they're saying is that he falsified business records because the money was paid, or the attorney who paid Stormy Daniels, Cohen, was reimbursed from the Trump organization, specifically the campaign funds. That's what the claim is, apparently. Now, I guess what I'm confused about is why paying off someone hush money is not a valid campaign. That would seem to me to be a perfectly valid like campaign thing to do, right? So my understanding is that campaign funds are used to try to re-elect somebody and to like run ads and to try to make like a good image for the candidate. Now I'm guessing there's probably some law that says you can't use that to pay hush money to prostitutes, or I guess in this case a porn star, which are essentially just a filmed prostitute. I will need to look more into that, I guess, if there's a specific law against that. But oh, you bitch. But what's the verdict here, just in terms of how reasonable this is? Well, it's probably bullshit, and here's why. In New York, where this guy's coming after him, the allegations are misdemeanors. They're not even felonies. The first allegation is that potentially could be brought, which I think would just be almost impossible to win, would be prostitution, right? I mean, I don't even know what the statute of limitations is on that in New York. Regardless, it's a misdemeanor. And the other thing that they might be going after him for is falsifying business records, which is also a misdemeanor. The only time that it becomes a Class E felony is if he specifically falsified business records in order to get around campaign finance law. And that's like the thought, that he paid this in order to get around having it be taxed. When his defense is, well, he gave $415,000 something to Cohen, who then put a quarter of that into paying off Stormy Daniels. Get fucked. And he didn't know that when he got the legal defense bill, he didn't know that that was part of that when he paid, or his organization paid off Michael Cohen for his legal defenses, or legal defense work. They need to be able to prove that intent there in order to actually go after him. You have to prove that he intentionally tried to get around campaign finance law by putting the payoff money improperly as a campaign expense, which under pedantic definitions, I think could be. It could just be that. Now, here's the broader question. I forget his exact name. I'm never good with names, but oh, McCarthy. McCarthy recently tweeted that this was yet another attempt to go after Trump, and they're probably not going to find anything. I think that's probably accurate. I doubt they're going to find anything. This is like the 5th attempt of trying to go after this guy and not finding anything. And that he's going to be directing somebody, investigators, to investigate the situation and make sure the prosecutors aren't misusing federal funds in order for political purposes. And some people are apparently pissed about this. Some people don't like the idea of an investigation, which to me seems immediately like weird, because when the Russia stuff was happening, there's a lot of investigation going on, and I think one of the very solid arguments was like, there's no harm in just investigating. We should at least just investigate it to see. We should at least investigate it just to see. Just to see what's going on. But apparently, even investigating this is treason for some reason. I don't understand that part about it. God, they're quick. They only got 2 generators left, which is really good for just there being 2 of them. And I am very rusty right now. I'll be totally honest with you. So he's working on that one. He wants to lead me away. We're just going to go stop him because we don't want theirs to be... There they are. I don't know, is there anybody in here that thinks this is like totally fucking legitimate? That yeah, like there's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with waiting until 2023 and then going after Trump for... Oh, nice. I got him though. And then going after Trump for violation of campaign finance law because the law firm that he paid for legal services used some of that money to pay somebody to hide their indiscretions. I mean, I don't understand why that'd be a problem in the first place. I've negotiated plenty of settlements, and confidentiality clauses are worth money, right? And they have a valid legal purpose. That just seems like this is what this is. Oh yeah, you're fucked. So they're fucked right now. Because, yeah. So he's probably gonna... Oh, where the fuck did he go? There's really, like... I mean, I hate camping, but there's one guy left. Oh, there he is. Can I zap him from up here? No, I can't zap him from up here. Oh, you bastard. The fuck does irk mean? What's up, cheetah? But what does irk mean? Yeah, save him. Save him. Here, look. I'm hiding. Nope. Yeah, obviously, I don't think she's gonna come down. So he's gonna die, and then their only hope is to get to the trapdoor. When there's one person left, a trapdoor opens. Oh, wow! You would actually. Oh, nice. Very nice. Now they're both. At least one of them's dead on hook now. God. Very nice. Ooh, that's a miscalculation. Yeah. And I think this one's dead on hook, right? No, this is the one that might not be dead on hook. I haven't been counting. We'll find out. Look at this motherfucker. Oh, dead on hook. All right. So she has to sacrifice herself. So Ben 4428 can give it a shot. What we want to do now is ideally. Where the fuck? Oh, there she is. We want to look out for the trap door, or just go after her. And we could zap her kind of infinite times, I'm thinking right now. Can't really do anything. Now the other question is, was Trump's, I think this is probably bullshit. They're not going to find anything. This is just for political theater. They're going to arrest him. They're going to bring him in. They're going to have to let him go because at most the thing he's guilty of is potentially some misdemeanor of falsifying business records that he didn't specifically do, but the Trump organization may have. And how responsible he is for that. I mean, from a criminal liability perspective, probably nothing. But from like a civil perspective, I mean, potentially, who knows? Yeah, it's over. And then he's going to be found not guilty, and then it's going to be over. That's what's going to happen. Mark my words. Now the question is Trump's response... GG. Is Trump's response good? Which is what he essentially said. I have no problem with McCarthy's response of we should investigate to make sure federal funds aren't being used for partisan purposes. That's good, right? Investigations are fine. We want to make sure that's going on. We can even investigate Trump. We spent plenty of money doing that. And this definitely just seems too good to be too perfect, I think. And then the other question here is, so McCarthy's good so far that I've seen, because all he's saying is investigate. But what Trump is saying is, come on, people, come out of your homes. And he said protest, right? He just said protest? God, I hope that's all he said. The far and away leading Republican candidate. Protest, take our nation back. Now, he should have said peacefully protest, since people are going to take this and use it to say that he's trying to incite violence. Even though take our nation back, I mean, that's pretty much been the fucking political slogan for Bernie Sanders, right? He's got a couple, but, we're going to take our nation back. I feel like that's something he would have said. So, I think he could have been more clear. I think he should have been more clear. Because he already knows how people are going to misinterpret the things that he says there. Because they did on January 6th. So I don't know why he... I mean, at this point, because he knows that, I don't know why he wouldn't have been more careful when he said what he said. That's like the one thing against him. But part of the issue is there's so little, there's so little evidence right now as to what the fuck's going on, right? The biggest thing that I think we know about right now is generally what the idea is, what they're going to be trying. You did something improper when you paid off Stormy Daniels, but we don't know what the full allegations are going to be. We don't know all of the evidence. We know Trump's response saying this is all bullshit. We know Steve McCarthy's response, which is we have to investigate to make sure this isn't bullshit. What are these people around? This isn't bullshit, but There must be an easier way than having... I guess I could have logged in on Discord on this one too. Oh. Oh well. Fuck you, Mika. But I mean, other than that, that's basically my opinion thus far. So we're just gonna go ahead and focus a little bit on this round. We already just got a 4-kill last round though, so it's not like... I mean, these survivors could be better. Yeah, that sucks. We're gonna just talk a little bit about this game unless somebody wants to bring up the Trump stuff. So, my two favorites are... Oh, there's no basement here. Wraith and Doctor, I think, are the two that I play the most. The two hardest... Well, the hardest, I think, is the Hillbilly by far. I don't know if anybody likes that one. I think they're better just because they already have... they got a really quick generator. Although that was a bad move. Alright. And I'm a trash killer too, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm good at this shit. So what do you guys think we should do after this one? Kind of feeling StarCraft a little bit, because this is like... I don't know if I just didn't, because I haven't played in so long, they just moved me to one of the lower tiers on this one, but... I mean, this is not super difficult right now, I'm not gonna lie to you. Watch me lose too. Does this one hurt? No. Wow. I guess there must have been a hurt one back there. Even hitting the healthy ones though is good because it really like slows them down. Cause yeah, they're gonna heal, but I mean, what a pain in the ass. There's a hook. Hoi 4. Now, I am willing to play Hoi 4. The only issue is, I actually grew up in Hoi 3. And I am really not good at Hoi 4. I know it's an easier game to learn mechanically, for sure. Because, I mean, Hoi 3 is just intentionally almost just destructively difficult. And I think Hoi 4... Ooh. What about EU4? You guys like EU4? I'm good at that one. That's a fun game. It's like more nation buildy than it is combat. I mean, for the combat ones, I just usually play like StarCraft. Because, I mean, that's all mechanics, really. Well, I guess there's a little bit of strategy, but it's, let's be honest with it, it's my favorite game, let's be honest. It's all mechanics. You can make up for a lot of bad strategy with just being able to push the buttons quicker. Oh, it's okay. And boom. So they're actually doing a lot better than I thought I was doing, like, really good, but I guess I'm not. Oh, boy. Oh, fuck. Alright, well, we're at 2 generators now. I'm gonna fucking lose. Here I was talking shit. Oh, well, they deserve it. Ah, nice. She's doing a really good job of keeping me busy right here. Because I can't... Obviously, if I'm chasing somebody, which I just have the habit of doing, I can't be oppressing generators. So... No, they're better. They're really good. Now, I do have a perk, which once they complete all the generators, I get, like, I can down them in 1 hit, and I get, like, a burst of speed. And they already rescued her. Jesus, and they're almost all healed. I don't think I've gotten that many hooks, and I don't know if any of them are dead on hook. This is no bueno. I'm also not using my cloak as much as I probably should. Ah! That's the worst feeling in the world, by the way. Nice. So she's trying to block me. This one might be dead on hook, to be honest with you, because they really are protecting her. Which would be very nice. This one's probably got the... Yep, the horse perk. Yep, that one is dead on hook. There you go. Alright, and then there was 3. When you lose survivors, you lose, like, your chance of winning goes down basically exponentially. That's another thing about this game. Oh, alright. And there we go. And then I'm gonna get this one. And now they're all gonna be terrified of me, now that they know, right? Because that happened, they know I've got the, that hex. And so, oh, they already destroyed it. Nope. Well, at least it's a 2 kill. It's better than it could have been, for real. Is this one being opened? No, they're going for this one. Shit. Yep. Let's see how close I am. No, it's over. And 2 survive, that's not good. Oh. GG. GG. They basically a 2. There's no like official way to win, but a 2 kill is basically a survivor win, honestly. So that one was a loss for us. We're gonna go one more round, and then we're gonna switch the game up. What should we do? Clown's pretty fun. Mostly sticking to like the... Unless they nerfed them since the last time I played. The overpowered ones. And this is open Collins too, so if you just want to chat, you can go to the Discord. Anybody's welcome. Obviously, just stay within Twitch TOS, bring up anything you want, and we'll talk about it. People really hate Trump. Um, Here's the other concern, and while we're loading in, there's no problem just talking about this. Here's the other concern I have. I feel like a lot of the people that really hate him sort of have they're like hardcore utilitarians. And although the position makes logical sense, it always makes me super skeptical of somebody who's just like a flat out like very hardcore utilitarian in like everything they talk about, because they'll come out and they'll be very straightforward. Yeah, like I would lie to get Donald Trump removed from office. We would bring phony charges. I mean, let's not let's not lie to ourselves. How many people would not bring phony charges to throw him in jail so he can't run? The other kind of conspiracy theory I've heard, which is kind of interesting, is that this is actually all from the DeSantis right? This is from the DeSantis side. Nice. Now, unfortunately, I have a Lightborn. From the DeSantis side. And the argument there is nice. These guys are really good, by the way. I'm gonna lose this one, I just know it. And I'm also out of bottles.
Hello, hello.
Hey, what's up, Tiberius?
I saw that you had a thing, and as soon as I got a chance to join, I decided I would.
Yeah, dude, come on in. What's going on? So I'm talking a little bit about. I'm talking a little bit about like the Trump stuff, and I want to know, especially, I really wanted to know your thoughts because you're usually the more reasonable person on Twitch.
I'm not up to speed, but correct me if I'm wrong. But basically, it's going after him for the hush money for Stormy Daniels.
So that's what I thought. Going after him for the hush money, but then also my understanding too is that because hush money's not illegal, they're trying to say that he violated like campaign finance law with the hush money. That's like the latest portion of the claim. And
I gotcha.
And because nothing's really been like formally brought yet, I don't even know how Trump learned about it. He's saying I'm going to be arrested on Tuesday. That's really all that has happened so far.
Yeah, well, you know how this kind of thing goes with Trump is that either it's the end is nigh and Trump's getting arrested tomorrow, or it's nothing for him, and nothing will ever come of it. And I'm just kind of tired of both, to be honest. Like I think honestly, if the Democrats were even half as good at police work and investigations and all this shit as the Republicans were, Trump would be arrested and thrown in jail for something. Because quite honestly, this man's moral character does not strike me as something of quality to where I don't believe he's not in depth in illegal shit. And that's that is my honest assessment, is that, like, I know there's a lot of people like Trump, yada yada yada, that's fine, but that man smells of someone you can just look at and you know that they're guilty of a felony.
I'm not sure I can disagree. The whole thing just definitely does, like, he always has kind of had that vibe to me. But it's almost like with like Al Capone, where they can't find him on anything like that he may have actually done, so they're just kind of like grasping at straws for like the dumb little shit. Like hush money for a porn star seems to be kind of lame. I don't know.
It is, and to be honest, if I was ever going to go after him for something, I just would have gone after him in the state of Georgia for violating election law regarding that one phone call. Like, I don't care if it would have sticked. I would have thrown a lot of chips behind that, because I think he did violate the spirit of the law, if not the law itself.
Yeah, that would be really hard to prove.
It would be, and and whether it's the Supreme Court or pretty much any court, is that they give politicians a wide berth because they recognize how absolutely horrible it is to start the tradition of locking up any kind of political figure.
Yeah, that's the other part about this too, right? I mean, is this politically motivated or not?
Apparently, we need to get Illinois Democrats to head up this investigation because they're about the only ones who can actually figure out how to lock up. Usually, it's their own governors, but hey, whatever.
So, what do you think about McCarthy's response to the whole thing, where he's like, "Hey, we should investigate to make sure federal funds aren't going towards political purposes"? I mean, I guess he's kind of assuming there that it's political purposes, but some people have a problem with that.
Well, so here's my honest thoughts on this because this is the first I'm hearing about it. Every time the Republicans usually say one thing, they're actually going after something else that's like tangentially related. If they want to go after campaign finance laws, that's fine, because I think the Democrats now have more corporate money behind them than Republicans.
Probably.
But I'm looking at a lot of Republicans, and I'm like, I think a lot of them are shady as shit. And I can't put it in any other way, and I'm not trying to be an asshole, but like folks like Matt Gaetz, MTG, Lauren Boebert, I'm sitting here going, these folks are just a couple fries short of a happy.
Oh, what did Boebert do? Boebert didn't do nothing to nobody.
Boebert is so shit that her own constituents have pretty much said, hey, we don't like you, and we are going to take a 99% likelihood of win district and make you win by 400 votes. If that doesn't speak volumes, I don't know what does.
So, I mean, here's my question for you, right? You've been talking shit about the Republicans.
I can talk shit about the Democrats too.
Oh, I know you do. You definitely are pretty open on both. But are you voting in, like, if there's a Republican primary tomorrow and it was Trump versus DeSantis? I'm guessing you're voting DeSantis, right?
I would vote DeSantis.
Yeah.
Is he my first choice? No. I've openly said it for a long time. If I'm choosing anyone, I think it needs to be Crenshaw because I like him a lot, even if I disagree with him on a number of things, and I really, 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 really do.
Didn't he have some scandal? Or am I incorrect about that?
He doesn't really have a scandal. It's just like his big thing that really separates him from a lot of the party, and I don't think it's nearly as big of a gap as a lot of people say it is, but he's pro-red flag.
He's pro the red flag laws, yeah.
Yeah, he's pro-red flag, and that's the thing that a lot of people said that's going to do him in immediately. But I think the Republicans need to get ahead of the gun issue because I don't think that the gun lobby is as strong as a lot of people act like it is because, well, I mean, I put it this way. I don't think there's that many screaming ammosexuals.
Yeah, I'm one of the few.
I think they're loud.
Oh.
I think they're loud. I think they got money, but I don't think you're going to sell suburban parents on everyone having a gun. And I think I'm not going to say that we're going to go to the left anytime soon regarding guns, because I think most Americans believe that you should have the right to have a gun. But like this whole Tom, Dick, and Harry should have a gun, and there shouldn't be any kind of like prudence to show proof of that. Like, you know, I'll put it this way. I think most Americans think you can have a gun, but why is it that you want it to be a situation where you have to prove that you're competent enough to drive a motor vehicle, but not competent enough to drive to fire or to have a firearm? And I think there's a lot of Americans that really bothers a lot.
What are your thoughts on the gun? On like what kind of gun control would you want to see? If I'm guessing, based on some of the things you said, you might want a little bit more, but I'm just curious as to what specific policies.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know what I want because this is the data point I need. I absolutely believe that having a society where we have more guns than people leads to the numbers of gun violence that we need. And I totally give the left the points on that. The other side of that, though, is that this is something that is really hard to prove, and that is how much freer do guns make us? Because I think that authorities are scared shitless of guns, and I think it is to the degree where um, one of the reasons why we had such a lax COVID restrictions was because the American authorities were so absolutely scared shitless of their own people that they didn't really want to antagonize that fight if they didn't feel like it was 100% worth it. And I don't think a lot of people did. Um, and that's where I'm like, all right, I think a lot of the calculations, or at least the right wing calculation for guns, is something that isn't really in data. Because how do you put like freedom units or freedom index into that?
Right.
If you know what I'm getting at. And that's the kick of this issue for me, is that how much freer do these things actually make us? And I don't have any kind of way to ground that into the calculus outside of just saying, hey, I think we're freer because of this. And that seems like a really sloppy way to go.
It's I that's the difficult thing. So there was recently a RAND analysis of all the studies about the effect of gun control, and there's a couple findings that I think are important. The first one is that most studies on gun violence are just shit in terms of how they're done, in terms of having good controls, in terms of having proper sample sizes, accurate conclusions, all of that. I think there was only a couple that actually passed like a analysis of this is a good study or this isn't a good study. Um, the other thing here is that the 1996 assault weapons ban did not drop crime and like homicides like in any meaningful way. There's no
No,
analysis that shows that. It dropped mass shootings slightly, but because mass shootings are so rare and make up such a small percentage of all U.S. homicides, it wasn't actually a statistically significant reduction. Um,
right.
I mean, less.
And this is hilarious to me, but in a very, very dark way.
Mhm.
The biggest people who are responsible for bringing down the American murder rate is the Sinaloa cartel because they literally just killed everybody who was a threat. And once there wasn't anyone else who was a threat, conversation was over.
Right. Um, I mean, less than 6% of all U.S. homicides are from rifle and shotgun combined.
Right.
Um,
It's handguns, which is
it's
where
handguns.
I kind of I kind of get where the left is like, hey, these handguns are bad, but it's kind of funny because I just can't trust them because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. It's like handguns bad. I'm like, yeah, by the data, sure. Do you have any idea how much easier it is to use a rifle than a handgun? Because it is. And they're like, I had no idea.
It's a lot easier to use. Yeah, it's way easier to use a rifle than a handgun. And the thing is, just rifles just. It seems to me that the rifles are the target of almost all of the gun control legislation, which doesn't make any sense to me because they're not like they aren't responsible for the problem, right? If there is a problem, the conversation should be solely on handguns if there's going to be any regulation at all, which are already more difficult to get than rifles, right? You got to be 21. You got to some states have like a lot more requirements and waiting. I mean, rifles really are not the issue. They're just used in a couple mass shootings, so people think they are.
Right.
Um,
So the thing about handguns that I don't really get how to square is that the reason that they are so ubiquitous is because they're concealed, right?
yeah,
Like you
yeah.
can hold it on your person, yada yada. Um, the other side of this though is that I do believe that if I go to New York City, I want to have my fire, and it's one of those deals to where they make it hard as fuck to be able to defend yourself in some of these areas, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. At the same time, they don't have any like they just want to cramp down on everything to the point where, unless you're going through metal scanners, it doesn't really matter. So I don't know. Do you know where I'm going with this? Where like I kind of get the argument that was made by Scalia when it came to the handgun laws that were thrown out by the Supreme Court for like New York, where it's like you don't allow people to defend themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and I
There's
actually
that
agree
too.
with that. But there's another level where I'm like, they recognize that for their own localities, handguns are a serious problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what is a way that you can actually get at handguns without pissing off everyone?
Do you think the other thing that I think with guns is interesting is like you're talking about the freedom factor, which I think is absolutely a factor that needs to be like it's almost impossible to quantify, but you can definitely,
Right.
it's a qualitative factor. What about like fun, right? Like guns are a hobby for a lot of people. People like going to hunting. They like going to, you know, they like doing all sorts of stuff with guns, right? It is
Yeah.
a fun thing to do. I don't know how into shooting you are. I mean, they're just tons of fun.
Uh,
I think that has a lot of value too, to be honest with you.
it does, and honestly, I think any gun owner, and I am one, if you have the ability and the means, should at least go shooting once a month
Yeah.
just to keep your skills in order.
Hmm.
Which I'm failing at miserably because ammo was a bitch,
It's
and
so
I haven't.
expensive right now. It's ridiculous, dude.
And, well, for a while you just couldn't even get it. Forget buy or I'm sorry, forget expensive. You couldn't even just get it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
I'm hearing that now to as large degrees. Just people are like, yeah, I can't afford it, which I get. So,
I can't
and
find
if
7.62 anymore, like at all. The shelves are just empty.
I will, I'll look around. I can't. I don't think I can. I don't think I can do state lines though, can I?
No, look, crossing state lines is the worst thing you can ever do. I don't know if you knew that. It's a
Well,
great moral evil.
well.
Am I
Oh
allowed in
yeah.
here?
Well, no.
Oh, okay, I'll leave then. No, no liberties here.
Who is this?
I crossed
This is
I crossed
Fito.
state lines. Oh, yeah,
Hello.
I'm the guy that left is so poor.
Hey, gotcha.
Yeah, Christ.
Come here, Buck.
Oh, no way, you got a dog?
Come on. Well, that's my neighbor's dog barking. I actually have two, and I'm currently changing out my dishwasher because the old one went to shit on me. And yeah, the neighbor's dog's barking at me, saying hello, and my boys are out there taking a whiz. So
See, I need to get a dishwasher. I do dishes by hand right now because the house that I bought doesn't have a dishwasher and doesn't really have enough room for a dishwasher. And doing dishes by hand feels like Sisyphus pushing the rock up the hill. It never ends, right? Every day, it's just always more, and it's the chore that never ends. It is like the most evil chore of all. I
Yeah,
believe.
take an hour away
I
from your day every day.
Yeah, more
I
than
don't mind it that much, but my woman is just like, you suck at washing dishes, and now she's like, I'm tired of washing dishes. So we went to see how much a dishwasher would be. I'm like, all right, we'll save up for this. Well, turns out they're having a big old sale where everything's like 20% off.
that.
So
Hey.
basically, I maxed out my finances to do it, but we were gonna do it in a month or two anyway. So
Yeah, it's
Um,
totally a reasonable expense. It's the amount of time you save. You could use that time doing so many other things. I hate.
well,
garbage disposal.
anything that largely makes her happier, where I don't have to come home and have bad days, then I'm good. So,
Oh. Well, you're just a
So-
thoughtful guy.
well, uh, that old proverb, "Happy wife, happy life," really is true.
Oh, for sure.
Because if she isn't happy, then then I'm sure it's not going to be happy. Because then I'm gonna make it to where we fix that. So.
What about you, Fipto? I'm guessing you're DeSantis over Trump
think he
too.
just-
No, he
I
bounced.
think he just bumped out.
That's all right.
Command center upgrade.
But yeah, good times. Good times.
Good times.
I would vote DeSantis, but honestly, if the primary season rolled around right now, out of the people who declared, I actually vote Haley first.
You'd vote who?
I'd vote for Haley.
Add-on.
Really? Why? You're the first person I met that actually said they would do that.
Complete.
First and foremost is that Haley wants the damn job versus DeSantis really is just twiddling his thumbs, and I'm like, look, if you tell me you don't want the job because like it's a fucking nightmare, but you got to do it because you need to, I get it. But if you're gonna sit here and keep everyone in suspense when other people are
Not enough minerals.
jumping at it because it's time to campaign, well, I don't know. I don't really like that, to be honest. Like, make your intentions clear, let people know where you stand, and get on with it. Because we got shit to do.
Absolutely.
So
If it came
come on,
down to
buddy.
Biden versus Trump, I want to hear the centrist position on this.
I'm staying the fuck home.
You're staying the fuck home.
I'm so tired. Like seriously, like I've never said this before in my life. But if the American people want to do 2020 redux, fuck the American people. They deserve whatever they get.
But here's my question though: why wouldn't you just vote third party at that point?
Additional
I mean, you can, but I mean, to me, it's just the same throwing your vote away anyway. So, come on.
I heard there's like
I mean,
there's,
third part.
there's good strategic
Go ahead.
reasons though, right? Because like, yeah, it might it might seem like you're throwing your vote away, but what it actually does as well is like the next election cycle, people will look at the amount of people that voted for whichever like third party, and they'll be like, how do we court that audience, right? How do we get those people on board? Um, which I think is kind of like a cool idea.
I get it, but I'm a firm believer that as long as you have first past the post, you're pretty much locked in 2 birds.
Damn.
Are you with me on that, or did I not come through?
I heard you. I actually think no, I think even with the first past the post system, if you have the third parties are they going to win? No. But I think they can moderate the like the platforms of politicians, right? Because if libertarians have a whole bunch of like political power, why wouldn't you try to like get them away from voting for the libertarian candidate by saying, hey, look, like the only way you're going to get any representation is if you vote for me anyway. Like we all know this, but
Right.
but and on top of that, we're going to do X, Y, Z, right? We're going to move away from the sort of populist thinking, and instead we're going to put forward a more like libertarian kind of like Reaganite philosophy when it comes to economics. I could see that working. Now I don't know what third party you'd vote for because I know you're a little bit more of a just like a centrist guy, but
I like libertarians in like their idea. To be honest, like I would be an AMCAP if in a perfect world. But the problem that I have, just straight out, is that to me, is that they're asking for a high trust, high plurality society, but they literally don't believe in doing anything to actually institutionalize it. And for me, that's just where the rubber doesn't meet the road.
Mineral field depleted.
what does that?
That makes sense.
I guess
Go ahead.
that doesn't actually make sense to me. What do you mean like they're not doing anything for that?
Okay, so for me, to have a successful society, you need institutions, right?
Right.
You need people who are like willing to get the lights on, the power, yada yada. You don't have to have government do that, but for things that are
Is under
externalities, for lack of a better term, you do have to be able to curve those in. And I do think that government does do that very well, but they're not even advocating like, hey, you know what? Everyone needs to join this particular institution so that we all can be represented by our environmental needs. Like they're just like, fuck the government. I don't like the government. Government shit. And that's the issue, is that they have to be able to advocate for things that actually makes people's lives better. That's why they don't get votes. It's because they literally are just like, if you're pissed off with the government, vote for me. But if you actually want the government to do anything for you, well, I'm not your guy. Like that doesn't seem to be a very profitable way to work.
Did you watch the? Have you seen the like the libertarian primary where they basically asked the question of, should we need driver's licenses? And like Gary Johnson was, yeah, we need driver's licenses.
The only one who's
yeah,
the only one who said yes, and he got booed off the stage.
Yeah, well, they booed him, right? Because the people who go to that tend to be like the more hardcore anarcho-capitalist types, which I am not, right? But I think, despite the stage booing him, he still won the nomination, and I think that's telling, right? Most libertarians aren't like let's abolish the government tomorrow kind of people, right?
Yes, sir.
They're much more, well, we should start with like very basic, federal government sucks here, here, and here. Let's like make it not suck so hard.
Right.
So in that regard, I think voting for like moderate and like reasonable libertarian candidates is like the best solution. And this is where I lose support of some of the like the more hardline libertarians, because some people even, I think I mean,
Additional supply
you know some of them, right? Some people will make the argument that unless you are an anarcho-capitalist, you aren't actually even a real libertarian. There's no such thing as a non-libertarian. There's no such thing as a libertarian outside of that. But I think it's a spectrum, and I think that voting for a reasonable third-party candidate is a smart move. And that's why for the last two elections, I voted for the libertarian candidate. It's
I
I don't know if I'll do it again,
I
but
don't get right. I can appreciate it because there's a level where if you're like, hey, I just want to say to the both parties that they're pissed, that's fine, and you can vote for like Green if you want a more progressive country, or Libertarian if you want somebody who's a lot more hands off. I can respect that. Um, I don't really see a lot of utility with it because unless you're able to capitalize on it to where like you're stealing a major party's vote to the point where they have to change, then it doesn't really matter. And unfortunately, what do you think the threshold is here? Because for me, it's like you're probably got to pull a good 30% of the vote before they'll take you serious. Or not 30%. They got to pull a good 10% of the vote before anyone takes you seriously, in my opinion.
I agree that it can seem like sort of like hopeless almost with the amount that you would need, right? But at the same time, um, I think it's actually a lot lower than we think it is. So all that you have to do when you vote third party is just show that you're a big enough part of the electorate, that the part of the electorate that supports the other side, like you're not going to substantially lose them.
Right.
And then that's really it. So I think 5%, honestly. Which, I mean, I think libertarians, got like 3.6% or something like, it was a pretty low percent. But it was enough that we were acknowledged. It was enough where, like, I think there was a couple tweets where Trump was like, here's why, as libertarians, like, you should vote for us. Which is a start.
Right.
Who'd you vote
Okay.
for in 2020? I want to know.
Me?
Yeah.
I actually voted Trump. First time I voted for a
Damn.
Republican. Yeah. I voted for Hillary in 16 and Trump in 20, and everyone loses their minds when I tell them that.
Do you regret your vote for Trump?
To a large degree, yes. The problem is that all my issues with Biden, except for one, is still largely there. So, yeah.
Except
Fun
for
times.
one.
Yep. I thought his foreign policy towards China was going to be a lot more lackluster, but he actually manned up on that one. And I've not been too sad about how he's handling Ukraine. So,
Yeah, yeah, no, that's very fair. And I'll be honest, I expected a lot less of him there too. And I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. He's been pretty fucking good about that so far. If I'm not mistaken, pretty recently, I forget who it may have been. I think Mike Pence came out and straight up called Taiwan a sovereign nation, which
I
that's
think he was
pretty
saying
hardcore.
something on that line. Well, that's the way everyone's leaning, and I don't know if you've heard this, but you know how they're talking about the conversation that the Chinese virus, the coronavirus, was actually leaked from a lab.
Yeah, I still think that to
So,
some extent, but I don't know.
so it's been thrown out to me that everyone knows that's actually still bullshit. But the reason that they're doing that is because it's now politically in to be anti-Chinese, and I don't know if I buy that 100% or not, because obviously I don't do classified briefings, but I am thinking that this country is 15 years behind on getting on the China sucks campaign. So,
Yeah.
because I was saying back in 2006, I'm like, why are we acting like China's on? Like they're not. They're fucking not.
Yeah, they're doing the TikTok thing again.
They are talking about doing that again, aren't they?
I don't know if it's gonna happen or not, but we can hope, right?
I don't think it will. Don't get me wrong. I get the national security concern here, but like it needs teeth. Like just for lack of a better term, it needs teeth, and I don't know if they can deliver it. So,
Did you support the tariffs?
yes, this is probably one of the biggest things me and you are going to disagree on. So,
I think honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I actually am against the tariffs. Like, obviously, I'm against tariffs generally, right? But tariffs on a communist nation, to be honest, don't even really want to be trading with them at all to begin with. So
based.
I don't see
Um,
why we have to.
I don't think that people like in economics are actually understanding how bad like bleed off is, or like standard of living and prosperity bleed off is whenever you are integrating a labor force of over 1 billion people who make 1/10 of what you do.
I'm looking at it more about like just the threat, like we're kind of like the idea of we're selling bullets to the people who are going to use it against us one day. Seems kind of
And
stupid.
yeah, I do get that. I do.
Right? What do they
So
say? Like, the capitalists will sell us the rope. That's what the commies always say. It's kind of
they
happening.
weren't. Yeah, they weren't entirely wrong there. That being said, China is more of a fascist entity than it is a communist entity.
I've heard that. I don't know though, especially after what happened with Alibaba. My understanding is like the big difference between like a fascist kind of economy setup and a fascist economy is going to be like a very strong, almost complete overlap between the corporation and the government, right? And we definitely see instances in which the Chinese government is just, they're obviously not like Marxist Leninists. They're obviously like just straight up allowing like foreign businesses, foreign investment, all that stuff. That said, um, like if you talk against the government, it's not like it's not like there's a complete overlap because like the government officials, even if they don't own corporations, the big guys, right? Jack Ma, right? If you fuck with the government, they will come get you. And I think that situation made that very clear. Where he kind of said something a little bit criticizing them for a little bit, and all of a sudden, like he
Disappeared.
he fucking disappeared for how long? Several weeks.
Right. Yeah, it's sad, but to long short, to long in the long in the short here, communists and fascists have a lot in common.
Oh,
And
for
if
sure.
anyone thinks that they don't, yeah, if anyone thinks that they don't know what to talk about. When it comes down to it, like, how do you know, like, who's a communist and who's a fascist? One, look at their rationale. Fascists tend to be corporocratic, and I think this is where people fuck up their fascism. Uh, when people say corporocratic, they're like, oh, well, the corporations and the government are hand in hand. And while that happens with fascism, it's not ubiquitous. Remind you that like Nazi Germany was a lot more hands off economically at first, and then as the war went on, they kind of just got more and more involved. Italy kind of does the same thing. Um, what it the corporation is that they are politically incorporating a specific group of people, and in quote unquote God's chosen people, into a political unit that they're all supposed to be a part of. Where's my film thing?
So
But that is basic, or that's basic political doctrine. Because remind you that for communists and for fascists, politics comes before economics.
yeah, that's true. I think China's a great example of that too, right? Like where it
I
benefits you
think
to have a
so.
market economy, you do it, you know, where
Yeah.
it benefits the party, I think, as opposed to
Yeah.
the people. The thing about Nazi Germany, though, the one like, it's true that like they went through a period of sort of like hands off before. I mean, the war started getting crazy, and then obviously, like all wartime economies, the government got way more involved. But they were initially, so the guy who brought Adolf Hitler into the party is a man named Gottfried Feder, and Gottfried Feder was a very firm anti-capitalist. And you see this over and over again with like some of the early Nazi types. They were incredibly anti-capitalist, and the reason why they became so anti-Semitic is because they linked capitalism with Judaism, right? That was the
Yeah.
connection. So, while
Hitler
later,
believed that. Sorry.
no, you're good. I was gonna finish and just say like while like this later just kind of just turned into just a straight anti-Semitism without any kind of like rationale behind it. Initially, it was, well, these are the capitalists. This is why we hate them, right? And that was
Right.
what the party initially stood on, and that's why it was called National Socialism. Um,
Right.
but then it did shift a little bit once the Junkers took control.
You mean the Junkers?
Listen, I'm not a German. I do
Sie
you speak
sprechen Sie Deutsch?
do you speak German?
Ze kleine?
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, just a little. I know enough to get to the bathroom. I've actually been studying it on Duolingo for a while, but my life is busy and I don't get to do as much as I'd like.
I've actually so I'm a fucking citizen of a country of Europe, and I still don't know the language. It's pretty sad, to be honest with you.
Is that where the whole Swedish thing comes from?
Yeah, I'm Swedish. Kind of.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Well, a citizen, right?
Right.
I'm actually a citizen, but I just don't know the language, though. So
All right, so you're a Swedish citizen, but you don't know Swedish. Is that because you were like born there and then rapidly came over here?
I was actually born here, but a lot of European nations actually don't do like the whole like where you where you were born as much as who your parents are. So because my mom,
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
Because the United States is about the only country that actually does birthright citizenship.
I know Mexico does. A lot of the New World does, and I think that's for obvious reasons. But
Mhm.
but yeah, a lot of the Old World they don't. They just do it based on who your parents were.
And that's because Europe is a lot more ethnocentric than we are, but no one says that.
100%. No, it's no, there's no doubt about that.
I want to throw you something here, and you might find this funny, but I want your honest opinion. I've said, and I've gone on record, that I actually don't consider Europeans white because white is an Americanism, and like the only people that are really actually white, as American mutts, who have a little bit of German and British and English and all this other shit.
I think I actually agree with you. Because like a white is sort of like an American. It's a description of like American European culture, not European culture. Because like you look at someone from France, someone from Germany, there's like massive differences, right? But when you look at somebody with like French heritage or German heritage in America, there's really not that much of a difference anymore when you look at how they're treated. So
No, like I'm actually surprised the Irish have a strong identity as to what they still do here, because I mean they've kind of bred in with everybody else to the point. Like I'm just shocked they're out on their own still. If that makes any sense.
they are pretty into being Irish, but I think that's also because like
They actually have some strong cultural traditions that actually maintains it.
They also have cool holidays.
Fair enough. Outside of St. Patty's Day, remind me, what else do they have?
It's the only thing I know. I'm not Irish though.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
So I don't feel too bad.
I'm gonna have to run to the store to get a power outlet.
Yeah? What you doing with the power outlet?
Yep. Well, I'm installing this dishwasher here, and so far it's coming along pretty nice. But I've got to get a power outlet to plug it in, because somebody just plugged the last one straight into the fucking wall. Like it literally, the power cord comes out the wall and just went straight into the dishwasher.
Yesterday I spent
So
4 hours fucking putting up insulation. So I definitely can empathize with doing housework.
you got your own house?
Yeah, no, I bought my own house.
Based.
Yeah. No loans are,
Hey,
well,
this-
technically a mortgage, but no loans from like my parents or anything to help. I just straight up bought the house.
I see. Well, that's awesome, and I hope that lawyer salary is treating you very well.
It's okay. It definitely helped when it came time to make the down payment. Now lawyers don't get paid nearly as much as people think they do. But
Well, that's because everyone thinks about the big time lawyers that are, the people who make, $200,000 a year because they get the big cases and yada yada yada.
yeah, for sure.
I know Pisco's kind of going for that, but I can't speak to how close he is to that.
So I don't know that. I mean, I had a debate with Pisco once on like Roe v. Wade. I don't actually know how. I know obviously he got recently licensed, and he's pretty. I think he's pretty big when it comes to streaming, right? I mean, he's gonna be. He's
He
like
used to be. He pretty much quit, and
really.
then he came back. Yeah, he pretty much quit because his whole thing was, I'm going to be a professional. I'm only doing this until I basically his whole thing was is that he's only going to do it until um he gets promoted on the bar. He said he was going to leave, and he largely did. But for some reason, he came out and started going nuclear on President Sunday
Yeah, I
because,
saw
well,
that.
one he's a cunt, but apparently he was just fucking fighting with not so erudite and shit, and Pisco did not take that kindly. So Pisco went on the offensive,
Yeah,
which I
could you
won't condemn.
I want you to do me so like if you could do a huge favor for me. I don't follow any of that drama. Do you? Is there like a
I
do you have a
I barely do
TLDR?
either.
Okay, all right.
What usually happens is that I'll ask somebody, and be like, hey, what's going on here? Because I keep hearing shit or whatever else. And they'll just be like, oh, well, this is going on and this is going on. I'm like, oh, okay. So, uh, yeah, I'm pretty out of the loop more often than not.
Yeah. Yeah. I also feel I don't know. I always also just like when I hear about it, my eyes kind of glaze over a little bit, I'll be honest. I've never been
A
one.
little bit? Hell, my eyes get fucking bloodshot every time. Just like, can you all stop acting like we're in the seventh fucking grade, please?
Yeah.
Like, we're better than this, aren't we? Like, some of you guys are like 25 now. Like, what the fuck?
What do you think about my theory about it's the Jersey Shoreification of society, where there's like there's been like a continual shift towards like really kind of conflict-oriented content as opposed to like substance-oriented content?
I'm thinking about that. I'm chewing on it, so give me a second here.
Yeah.
My initial reaction is there's correlation there. I don't know if it's the causation. I feel like, to be honest, that for a long time this country got into an idea that everyone took it a little too easy. And I'm gonna blame those fucking boomers for this shit.
Everything's
Because
Boomer's fault,
the
to be
way
honest.
well, to a large degree, they cemented a lot of things they shouldn't have, to be honest. But I'll put it in this regard. There was a lot of civility politics all the way up until the 90s because the Great Generation went through World War II and they ran everything. And their whole thing was largely, we were all in the shit together. Like, we understand that if there isn't some level of decorum and civilized discourse, we're all at each other's throats.
Right.
And we don't ever want to go back. The baby boomers look at the world like it's fucking Star Wars. And I'm not kidding when I say it. They look at the world in very black and white terms. And so if you're not fighting, then you are then you're not pulling your moral weight. And this is one of the big things that I wish that they had agreed or that they had listened to their forebears on a lot more, is that I'll put it this way. The Great Generation was absolutely correct that we're all in this boat together, and it's like we can disagree, but there's a point where we draw them. Because if we go past that point, all hell. And I think that's what the boomers have largely set up for us, is that whether it's the Jersey Shore or whether it's modern politics right now, is that we forgot which team we're on. It's more about Republican, Democrat, not Team USA. And that's becoming a massive problem.
Have you seen those maps of partisanship over the past couple of years? Just in terms of you look
Yes.
at, I mean, we quite literally, it is the worst since the Civil War. I mean, obviously the Civil War was worse. So that's pretty significant. But I
Yeah,
mean, besides that,
but it is. It absolutely is.
that's kind
And
of
that
fucked up.
sucks because that's a problem. And I hate having to deal with that kind of level of problems, but I am firmly of the belief that the cycle goes around, and unfortunately, the boomers were just the ones who were going to fuck it up. And hopefully, the great millennial generation will try to fix it. But at this rate, we are so screwed.
I don't want to sound like crotchety, but I Generation Z is just crazy, dude. I some of the stats I've seen about just like how little they care about politics completely, and just how like on the
Can
same
you
page
blame
they
them?
are. I guess I'm more
Like, can
concerned
you?
with like how left they are. So some people were saying, well, they're going to be more conservative, right? But then, so they do identify as more conservative, but that's basically where it ends. They identify as more conservative, but when you actually like look at the beliefs they hold, they're more left wing than
Yeah.
millennials.
And honestly, I get that. I really do, because I think conservatives really fucking dropped the ball when it came to education. Just straight up, they let the craziest of the boomers teach the kids in college. And I think back when in their high school days, these kids are actually, you know, they're not super left, or at least they weren't until really recently. But now, when they go off to college, oh god, it's like
It's going to be
they're
so
outdoing
bad.
their professors, huh?
No, they for sure are. It is pretty crazy. Yeah, and then to be honest, like the millennials were an issue for a while, especially with like the stories at what was that one university where they basically like took the fucking dean hostage?
I don't remember that one, but what I can say about the millennials is that uh, we're still problematic. I'm not gonna act like we're not, but we've mellowed out a lot. Um, what was it? 10 years ago, we were pulling like 12 points in favor of Democrats. Now we're down to 4.
Wait, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot closer than it used to be.
Well, that's a relief.
And that's what I keep telling the fucking left is like, hey, we were supposed to be your saving grace, and now we're down to 4 points difference. And if it wasn't for the general norm trend, um, we would be at 0. Like it's sorry, not I said that backwards. At this point in our lives, uh, if we had been part of the norm, we'd be pulling about 50-50, which is where everybody else is, and that's what people forget is that people once you get involved, split hairs. And
That's right.
well, basically, long and the short here is that if you look at Gen X, you look at Boomers for the last um, 20 years, they have been voting more or less 50-50, and whoever won the election was the one who won the swing vote. Well, if you look at millennials, we're only 4 points off from the norm. So, is the left doing more successful with the millennials? Yes, and I do agree that it's probably because they don't feel that they're as involved as other generations because fuck, we can't afford a goddamn thing. Um, but we're not too far out of the trend, and that's the big thing for me is that I don't think millennials are super different, but we do definitely have some. I don't know how you put this. Smaller, more localized aspects about our generation to where like we will tell boomers off when it comes to shit like employment. We just have a completely different mindset on that kind of thing.
I actually think that in some ways the boomers have like a pretty toxic mindset when it comes to employment. I 100% agree that like work ethic is super important and people should like not expect to be handed things, right? But there's some people who like believe pretty strongly in firm loyalty towards your company, right? If you work somewhere, that is the place where you should work until the day you fucking die. Um,
Mhm.
and as time goes on, people are, slowly, mm, you know, turnover rates increasing. People are more willing to leave their job, which I think it's actually a really good thing. Um, look, if you don't make financial sense for a company to keep employed, they're just gonna fucking can you, right? And
Right.
there's no like, it's a business decision. That's what it is. So
Right.
I think people should view the labor market as like also a business decision. Like people really shouldn't have so much loyalty to people who would, again, like replace them in a second if it made financial sense to do so.
I don't disagree with that. But here's where I'll actually kind of sympathize a little bit with where the boomers are, because even though I hate them, I do understand them to some degree. When they came up in an environment where almost everyone else would find alien. Um, they outnumbered everybody else by a factor of 2,
Yeah.
and so no, I'm serious, they did. They
No, I know.
outnumbered everyone by so they outnumber everyone by a factor of 2. And that's everyone before them. It's not just their parents, it's their grandparents they outnumber together. So they've got a lot of weight, and they have to be super competitive. And it's one of those deals to where the big thing about them was having a job. And so that's why you see this generation who's like, I'm going to show up 30 minutes early. And you should be loyal to your company because they give you a job, right? And then millennials were on the back end of that because we were competing against boomers and Gen X, but where there's a shitload of us too. But instead of having to feel good that we got a job, we were at the end of the thing, so we were spiteful as fuck because even if we got the job, we got told do this, this, and this, and you get promoted, and then we didn't. Do this, this, and this, and this, and you'll get a raise, and we didn't. And the moment that anything went wrong, such as the company had to do a layoff or whatever else, guess who was out the door?
Right.
So we don't trust anybody when it comes to employment because the boomers are hyper loyal and they'll out loyal the shit out of us. Gen X doesn't give a crap and barely shows up to begin with. And that's actually true. You can see that in the data. And then for us, it's like, we want it in writing. You're going to make sure you follow through on every single promise that you make. And if you fucking don't, either my ass is gone, my ass is showing up 5 minutes late every single day, or you better give me a raise right now. So I get
Wait,
why employers kind of.
is Gen
Go
X
ahead.
is Gen X actually like more are do they show up like later than like millennials? Are they not as consistent? Are they not as reliable as millennials are?
They're more reliable. They learn that from the boomers, is that you got to show up, you got to be there, and they're hardworking sons of bitches, and they actually work more hours than anybody else.
Wow. Okay.
The other side of this though is that they have the lowest workforce participation rate of any of the generations
Hmm.
because they are the ones who have actually tried and have had some success being single income household because they couldn't raise their kids and go have 2 jobs at the same time. They couldn't afford it because this is when daycare and shit started going through the roof. Because the boomers were paying for their kids to go to daycare, which was us millennials, and Gen X could never compete with that. So they had to learn how to do it by themselves, which is funny because now millennials are now going to the Gen Xers saying, how did you make that work? Because it actually cost me, no, seriously, it costs us more money to go to work and raise a kid than it is to have one of our spouses stay at home.
Right.
So yeah, the fun is here.
You ever play StarCraft, Tiberius?
A little bit. I kind of suck at traditional RTSs. The only thing I was really good at was playing Byzantines on Age of Empires 2.
Oh,
Which
dude,
apparently,
I've heard it. So I always used to play Empires: Dawn of the Modern World. That was the old game that we always played.
okay.
I've heard really good things about Age of Empires. That's the one everybody knows. That's the one that everybody was playing while I was off playing the weird one. That's basically the same game, but that nobody else plays.
Age of Empires 1 was a little overrated. Age of Empires 2 is underrated. It's probably one of the best games of all time. if you're just considering for what it was at the time. And then you had kind of a successor to all this called Rise of Nations, which was fucking amazing and is very underrated.
Yeah, carrier's overpowered as fuck.
Say that again?
Carriers are overpowered as fuck in StarCraft. You just build them and you win. That's how the game works. I don't know if you knew that.
Terrans, right?
No, the Protoss.
Oh, okay. I got you.
What's up, Napalm?
I was gonna wonder if you were gonna acknowledge me. Not.
I saw you. We were just chatting about political stuff.
All the things.
Napalm here is a pretty dirty leftist, right? Isn't that right, Napalm?
No.
I was gonna say, God damn, can we stop?
I have
Can I stop being surrounded by
moved
leftists?
Beyond
They're everywhere, dude.
politics. But I will not talk about it because this is your Twitch.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, this is the place. This is the place to talk about it. What are you talking about?
Also, I'm in an uncharacteristically good movie.
Oh yeah, what was that?
Leaving D.GG Lactoid has really improved my mood.
You actually left it? You left
Yes.
it? Jesus Christ, it's early. Leaved it. When did you leave it?
Tuesday, because Shambles and I got into a bit of a scuffle, and he perma-banned me, and
Damn.
they gave me some time to reflect, even though he bitched out and couldn't even keep me permanent for 24 hours. Honestly, that's the only thing I'm mad at him on. It's like, look, I'm not mad at you for doing it, because I did threaten to post score in the chat to get permanently banned, so you took the shot preemptively.
So are you gonna reach out to Mr. Girl and be like, hey, I'm one of the victims of DGG.
No.
I'm a victim of harassment. I need
Like, all of the
I
stuff
need-
I could tell him is boring. It's like,
I
oh
need
yeah,
you to
they
listen to my
debate-
story.
They debate trans and stuff in there every day for 5 hours a day.
Yeah, that's true.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Sounds like the answer.
yeah. I mean, the DGG was actually like that's the Discord that I first started like debating people on the internet on.
Now, I'm not gonna say
Years
I'm
ago.
never gonna go back,
Not
because
enough
never
minerals.
say never. But I'm definitely gonna stay away until it gets too hot and humid to do anything outside.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna.
Also, maybe see how the new Discord terms of service fucking thing shakes out for that server, because
Whoa! What new terms of service?
Not enough minerals.
I can't believe you haven't heard Shambles rattle it off. Like they're
No.
expanding the group of people you cannot discriminate against, and it's like caste, it's
What? Cast?
But you can't-
socioeconomic status. Honestly, it sounds a lot more like legal jargon, where it sounds more, at least to me, it sounds more like Discord is like, look, we said people shouldn't make fun of you for like medical conditions and other things, so it's out of our hands.
Wait a minute. You said you can't make fun of people for socioeconomic status anymore?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, fucking poor people. God damn it.
Well, wait. Can you even say that now, Tiberius? I don't know. This is terrifying.
Family circumstances is another one.
How are we supposed to
Th-
debate
th- this is-
politics?
Yeah, this is like everyone's a victim.
Next time you see Shambles, ask him for a list of all the groups, because Shambles has it.
Yeah.
Because
I'll read into it.
Cake's already kind of hinting that he's not going to follow it and going to go rogue with D.GG, because, yeah,
Well, he can't do
comp
that.
side would get decimated under these new terms of service.
That's honestly wild. Like, I understand, like, how much does Discord even really enforce that stuff? I mean,
Well, that's
It
like,
depends on how much traction you get.
yeah. Yeah, I guess that makes
and
sense.
D.GG is a fairly big server, so
Right.
I don't think Cake could honestly get away with this if this is something D.GG. I mean, not D.GG. If Discord is really intent on cracking down. But like I said, it seems to me, you might get the same impression because you're actually a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
But for my just dumb fuckery, and just knowing how terms of services are usually written, it's like, yeah, this seems more like Discord's just covering their ass for potential lawsuits they might be getting in soon.
I actually think they might be putting themselves at risk because if there's nothing illegal about having a platform that dumps on poor people, right? But if you have terms of service that specifically say you're going to do X, Y, Z, and you don't do that, I feel like that would be actually like riskier than
No, you
just not
might be
coming out at
right.
all. And that's just like the really weird thing. I like Doobie server politics. How the fuck is that going to survive? A Discord changes terms of service. That's just no way.
Well,
I don't know how it's still there to
much of a
begin with.
as much of a cesspool as Doobie server is, Doobie at least can make the argument to Discord, like, look, I'm trying. I'm trying to clean up that cess. Like, Kate can't make the same argument with D.GG.
I guess not.
You know it, I know it. Like, that server's a fucking living hell at this fucking point.
Which server is this?
Destiny server.
It's not as bad as
Okay,
politics.
so is Destiny running that server, or is it somebody
No,
else's
he
thing? 'Cause I don't.
abandoned it long ago. Much like how God abandoned us long ago. Also, this is where Lactoid is wrong about me being a leftist. I was, when I still foolishly believed in a future.
And then you reach the age of reason and realize we're fucked.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like, fuck it. Just lay down
Sounds
in
good.
filth, die like a dog.
Sounds good.
I didn't know you were this nihilist.
I mean, it's starting to get a little bit out of my, because like I said, I can't even remember the last time I've been in a mood this fucking good.
He's like, I'm in a good mood. The life is over.
Look, today's not the future. Today's the present.
Right.
So I can live in the now.
Okay. All right. Well, should just have to be able to plug this thing in, and I should have a working dishwasher.
Hey.
So much there was still content I could enjoy. Like, movies suck now, TV shows suck now. Everything sucks.
I'm telling you, it's the
All right.
Jersey Shoreification of society.
What is the best movie that you've
Did
seen?
you see nobody went to see the new Shazam movie, Lactoid?
I
Like,
didn't know
nobody.
I didn't even know there was a new. Who the
Yeah,
fuck's
there was a new
Shazam?
Shazam. He was a ripoff of Superman. He's like
Oh,
a
is that the
little
one with
boy.
the Rock?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
that was Black Adam. That's like Shazam's main villain. He's like an evil Shazam.
Who they get to play Shazam?
Zachary Levy.
I don't
think.
even know who that is.
He's like a guy. He was in like.
He's like a guy.
He's like a guy.
I think he was like in Twilight or The Hunger Games
Oh,
or one of
God.
those adult action movie series.
What movies do you like, Tiberius? What's your favorite?
My favorite movie is a movie from 2010 called Inception.
Ascension? Exception? What was it?
Inception. It was.
Inception. Yeah, no, we all know Inception.
Yes.
That was
Okay,
a-
yeah,
that was a
that
great
is my
movie.
favorite movie ever.
Yeah, the Blom movie.
The Dream movie. It's like where you
I
dream
call
within a dream.
But the Blom movie.
The
Because that
Blom?
movie
Why?
started every movie having the Blom sound. You know, the Blom. Blom.
I can feel that a little bit. I can.
There was
Yeah.
like a good 3 years where like, motherfuckers, this is a Star Trek movie. You don't need the Blom.
There's always the Blom. Now that you mention it, there are quite a few movies where they really overuse that Blom.
It's like the horror violin.
Kind of, yeah. It's
Like,
like,
once you hear it, once you like notice it once, like you start noticing like, fuck, they really do use this shit all the fuck. I mean, it's not as prevalent as the horror violin. That shit's everywhere.
yeah, that's always been something though.
It's even in non-horror movies when they want to make like a scene spoopy or something.
Some of like the indie horror shorts on YouTube are actually pretty fucking good. I don't know if that makes me like
I mean, that's
a nerd.
basically where you gotta go now. Is like
Yeah.
the small filmmakers.
The new ones just have like they have too large an audience that they have to like kowtow to, so it always
Because
just
Hollywood doesn't want to make mid to small range budgets anymore
right.
for their movies. They want to just go with the fucking big blockbuster.
Well, that's where the money is, right?
You know, that doesn't make any sense to me because, like, don't get me wrong, I respect like most of the Marvel movies and particularly the Marvel TV shows. A lot of those have been pretty good, and they've been a lot of big money. But like, have you guys seen like Star Trek and Axanar? Like, that's made on a fucking shoestring budget, and it's still amazing.
Well,
Like,
it's like it's a trap of their own design because it made a lot less sense before the streaming shit started to take off when it's like, okay, yeah, now these studios have to fucking constantly pump in these bigger and bigger fucking budgets because they got no fucking choice. They killed, like, the home media market, like, one of their golden egg makers. Like, Matt Damon's talked about this. That's one of the reasons you don't see the smaller budget movies anymore, is because everything's got to make its money back opening fucking weekend.
Yeah. Yep.
You can't just have like a movie do okay opening weekend and then make it back on cable and fucking VHS or DVD or whatever it is at the time.
well, hell, you don't make any sales outside of streaming services anymore.
And that's the other thing too, is a lot of investors are starting to realize like, yeah, these streaming services are padding their fucking numbers.
Oh yeah.
I can see that.
How much?
Yeah.
How much are they padding their numbers? Can we even say, or is Twitch gonna come after us?
I mean, it's hard with a lot of it. Like Netflix is very secretive about their numbers.
Yeah.
I thought they were the ones that were actually the most open because they're like, oh, we picked up X amount of subs this year, or you know,
They're
this much
open
revenue.
about, like, they're open about the totals.
Mm-hmm.
So they're open about like, oh, we have this many subscribers and this many people watched this show. But what they don't tell you is like, how long did those people watch that show? How were they engaged? This is why it's kind of it's a different type of media, but like, this is why like one of the dumbest things Elon Musk did with Twitter recently was put in fucking view counts on tweets.
I actually like that. I don't know what's the problem with that.
Here's the problem with it. Like, go look at a lot of the big tweets. They'll have like millions of views, but they'll have like 1,000 retweets or 1,000 likes or less.
Could
What
it
that
be?
shows is like there's not a lot of engagement on these big tweets.
Well, I think what it means is like a lot of people are just sort of like scrolling through. They don't really like, you know, not everyone's gonna fucking know
Like,
exactly.
there was a time when advertisers did just care about views, but Facebook fucked that up for everybody. Because Facebook got caught fucking sugaring their view counts on Facebook video. Where they were literally counting a second as a view.
Well, it is, isn't it?
Well, it technically is, but when you sell that to advertisers, like, oh, look at how many views we're getting, and it's like, they're not even watching the first second of our fucking commercial before they're turning off of this shit.
Does it also count for YouTube? Like, if I go on YouTube and I watch a video for like 1 second, is that considered a view?
On streams, it is. Streaming on YouTube's kind of weird.
Right.
Yeah. That would explain why
There's technically 2 view counts on YouTube when you stream. There's like the live view count of what's happening as you're streaming, and then there's the view count that it gets as a regular video.
That'd explain why my streams are so much higher in view count.
Yeah.
I also think that people like they just enjoy watching.
Well,
a
with
stream.
regular videos, I think it's 15 seconds you have to watch until it's counted as a view or something.
What what if the video like what if the video's like 30 seconds though? Then I'll basically watch the whole video if I watch 15 seconds.
Yeah, true. The thing is, like, YouTube's moved away from like views are still counted in their algorithm. They're still important to an extent, but like now the main thing YouTube looks for is likes, comments, shares, engagement, basically.
I get that. I think like it's always more entertaining. Like the best streams are when like people are really engaged. I'm losing.
And yeah, like
Stop
with
dying.
streaming, like I think going back to your question about which one's the most open, I think Paramount Plus is the most open. Because we know Paramount Plus has somewhere in the range of like 5.5, like, yeah, like 5.5 million people subscribe to it.
Wow. And is that the one that ate CBS All Access, or do they still have their own thing?
Yeah, I think CBS All Access got merged into Paramount Plus, and now Paramount Plus, I think, is in talks with fucking Viacom to merge Viacom Plus and fucking Paramount Plus into one thing.
Well, that would make some sense, because the problem that I've got with the streaming services right now is that you got to have a different subscription if you're going to watch everything legally.
It's honestly worse than cable.
It is worse than cable, because like you'll have your monthly expenditures higher than what you did before cable, and cable was bad enough because you couldn't even pick, or a lot of those packages you couldn't even pick and choose what you wanted to watch, so you'd just be spending a lot of money for extra.
Like the comedian Brian Posehn had a great joke about this of like all the streaming service companies should come together and create one package where you get all the streaming services. And you can call it cable television.
It was just it'd be cable then.
I would love to go back to Netflix 2014 to where like everybody was it was
Here's
pretty much
thing,
Netflix
cable
and go
might
home.
be getting cheaper in the next 2 years.
I will shit a brick.
Cause Fox News is one of the key driving factors to cable pricing because of how much they demand from the cable companies to carry them. ESPN's also up there. I think ESPN's number 1. Fox News is number 2.
Let's be real, ESPN needs to die.
It does.
Do they even show sports these days, or is it just fucking commentary?
It's just commentary because
yeah, they show sports. It is a lot of commentary.
ESPN, and granted, I'm not a sports guy, but I know this just because everyone I've ever talked to in the industry tells me this. ESPN's model died the day the internet became ubiquitous.
I don't know about that though, because like I can't. So
It also died the second like a lot of the regional sports people started being like, hey, why don't we just have like our own little network that just shows like our games?
that's the problem, honestly. I think like they're the sports especially, they're nickeling and diming so much. Like for NBA is one of the worst at this. Like in order to watch some games, you have to like subscribe to one service, and then in order to like watch other games, you have to subscribe to like a different service. And they'll just basically make it so you're just like I can't even you got to go somewhere really to watch the games these days, right? It's pretty horrific. But
correct me if I'm wrong, but the NBA's now at like record low like viewership.
Probably.
As far as like everyone that I talk to who's been watching it says the NBA won't give a fuck anymore. Like it's just one good team and that's it.
There's a few good teams.
I remember is still holding fairly decent. At least because like the other, like MLB and fucking NFL especially are doing like much worse in terms of viewership.
Dude, baseball. Every time I watch like a baseball game, the whole fucking like the stadium's empty. I don't know if that's.
This is why like MLB just like reversed their cheating shit from a few years ago, where they were like, yeah, fuck it, let the fucking pitchers cheat, because it's the only thing bringing people into the fucking games at this point is seeing a motherfucker throw a fucking fastball at 130 miles per hour and maybe kill a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then NFL is just That one's sad.
Command center upgrade.
I feel like NFL is better though in terms of like actually being able to find games without having to pay for like a whole bunch of extra services. I don't know, maybe that's just me.
NASCAR's been dying for years because of the expansion. It also just there's no good old boys anymore in NASCAR. It's all like rich twerps who are part of racing families or just some rich kid who's like, I want to be a NASCAR driver now.
Please don't tell me the fastest growing sport is UFC.
Oh, that would not surprise
It
me at all.
probably is.
God damn it.
You know what's
The
actually
end
been
is nigh.
shockingly good is the XFL.
What's that?
Oh, the newest reboot of that?
Yeah, the XFL is in the late '90s. That was Vince McMahon's version of like the NFL, of where it's like it's gonna be more extreme. We're gonna bring a bit of the wrestling pizzazz to football, and it
Well,
failed.
haven't they?
There was-
I was gonna say, haven't they tried to
there was
reboot
some
this
good
like 3 times now?
ideas. Yeah, they did reboot. Yeah, so Vince McMahon rebooted it again, right, Lactoid?
I
In
don't follow Vince
2020.
McMahon.
At the start of the pandemic, they got one game off, and then the pandemic killed the second XFL. And then Vince McMahon sold the rights to The Rock, and now The Rock is doing the XFL, and it's like, oh yeah, I remember when football was fun. This is great. Like, I don't have to spend all day watching one fucking football game. I can be in and out in like 90 to 100 fucking minutes. This is nice.
Is there a women's football league?
Like the lingerie football league.
Why can I
Are,
believe that?
are my viewpoints on women's sports like TOS on Twitch?
They might be. I don't know what they are. Message me them. I'll take a look at them.
They're irrelevant.
Well, no, I'm not. That's not That's not TOS. I mean, they are.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's like, well, you care about like Little League's more fucking. Little League has more sanctity than this shit. Like, this is literal sideshow.
I do think it's funny, and Tiberius, I want to know your opinion on this as well. But I do think it's kind of interesting how, with the women's sports thing specifically, the WNBA basketball player, that we rescued.
Brittany
from,
Garner?
Yeah, that we rescued from like a.
The one we traded the war criminal for.
Yeah, the Lord of War, or whatever. A lot of people were saying like this highlights like some inequity. Like I think one of the things I heard often was like, well, if the women basketball players were paid equally, they wouldn't need to go to Russia to like make up the difference in income, which I thought was an interesting line
How
of
many
reasoning.
like sports like that argument falls apart like
Not enough minerals.
immediately because like most people who aren't like the big time players
Not enough
go and play
minerals.
other fucking places all the time.
No, for sure, but like this is like the WNBA,
Why the
right?
NBA has been stuck up in China.
Right. Oh, there's a lot of like
Look at how many
basketball
fucking
lovers in
NBA
China.
I don't know if it's still a thing. I know this used to be like really big in the 90s. Like a lot of NBA guys during the off season would go up to fucking Canada or down to Mexico and play in like the Canadian or Mexican leagues.
I think the Mexicans should get an NBA basketball team. That'd be fun.
It is weird that they don't get one.
Canadians got one. I don't know why we can't give one to the Mexicans. What I was gonna say is, like most of the people who
Canada
were
also gets
complaining,
a baseball team.
well,
which is weird.
most of the people that were complaining about like the Brittany Griner, they didn't even know what team she played for, when you would ask them. I still to this day don't know what team she plays for, and I've been told multiple times.
She plays for
Is there
the
anyone
San
from?
Antonio Susan B. Anthony's.
Oh, true.
Additional support required.
Is there anyone that we want from Russia that would be like a better person to get? Like I don't know if they have
There
too
is
many.
that like Marine that everybody was bitching about for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, there was a couple
They
Marines.
immediately forgot.
Supply depots required.
Never
That,
forget.
yeah, to be fair, that is true. Like once that drama went over, like people really stopped caring about that Marine
I
that's
mean,
stuck
like, this
there.
is the thing I hate about like both sides on this shit. It's like none of you actually care about any of this shit.
Yeah, that's sad.
That's very true.
You just care in the moment because it's some fucking flashpoint
something
that
to
you can
do.
all gather around like the chimps from the start of fucking 2001 and bang your dumb bone clubs up against it, and then
Jesus.
the next fucking shiny thing will come down from the heavens to distract you.
I think you're a little bit jaded. I'm not sure, Napalm.
I am very jaded. I will acknowledge this. I don't like it. Like, this isn't. I'm not like a lot of like the Black Pillar Doomers, Lactoid, where it's like, I don't want to be this. I fight against it every day.
Hmm.
But the world keeps shoveling shit into my face.
Mineral
Although,
field depleted.
I did have one good piece of news recently. I don't know if they talked about this over in D.GG.
No.
Did you see China struck up a peace accord between Saudi Arabia and Iran?
No, I had no idea.
Yeah,
There's been preliminary talks on this for quite a while now, but
yeah.
I didn't believe it was going to go anywhere.
The agreement, you
Did
know,
it act, wait,
still
wait,
in
wait,
the-
wait. Did it actually go somewhere though? Are we like good now?
Yeah,
Apparently,
they're
it did.
yeah.
Whoa.
Additional
Alright, that's pretty cool.
supply points required.
And I have a
Really?
feeling like historically, this is the moment where it's like, yep, China is officially the global superpower.
No, it's not. It's not
No.
super global superpower. It's not even close.
Yeah, it's not.
Yet.
Not
I mean,
even.
like, look, there's still going to be contests here and there, but I think this is going to be one of those points where it's like, yeah, this is one of those major turning points that if China
Mineral
can
field
get
depleted.
the Iranians and the Saudis to sit at the table and finally be like, look,
That's definitely like points on their scoreboard, right? Like that's
it's
100%.
like here's the fucked up thing too. Israel's even fucking now interested in talking with fucking Iran.
Well, that's been their
If
dream
That's
forever.
wild.
Wait,
If
through
Israel-
China?
and if
That's
China
wild.
can get a
No.
peace deal or at least a non-aggression deal between Iran and Israel, it's like, fuck.
All right, so here's the part here. One, the only movement that we've seen because of the Saudis and the Iranians is not because of China. It's because the Americans have actually told the Saudis, "Get your shit in order, or we're done with you." And so they're just basically reading the time on the wall, and they definitely do realize that they don't want to be an American help. Which, fine, good fucking riddance. It's going to be a pain in the ass to keep the lights on in Europe, but hey, you know what? That's their fucking problem.
Not enough minerals.
On the other side of that is when it comes to Israel, Israel has had no problem coming to the table with the Iranians. It's been Iran that's been the fucking problem. So if Iran actually wants to come to the table, they actually might get something done.
Wasn't there that one
Yeah.
saying where it's like if tomorrow, or I think they said that about the Palestinians, but
Yeah, like tomorrow, like look, yeah, that is it's absolutely true. If tomorrow
That's the
the
sad
Palestinian,
Truth about the like
yeah, if they put down their guns and there would be no
the
more war.
populace of the Middle Eastern
going on.
countries might still care about the Palestinian issue.
I think
but the leadership
Iran's.
of said countries have made it very clear
It-
they'd
it-
rather have normalized relations with Israel than keep fucking going for the pipe dream of liberated Palestine.
Right. I mean, Iran is like that's the big player I think in this whole thing, right? I mean, if you can get Iran to play ball, you're golden, really.
Sure, but how much is that? How much of that is like performative?
From Iran.
Like I don't know. Does like China really have the power to like really get Iran to play ball?
Enough energy.
I don't know.
Iran's out of friends, so yes, like Iran needs somebody to actually play in their court right now
Yeah,
because biggest
Iran still has those protests going on, so
Hmm.
they kind of need to be like, look, we need to make sure we don't have to worry about foreign issues for a while so we can really crack down on the problems domestically,
Not enough
both
minerals.
figuratively and quite literally.
well, the biggest sponsor that the Iranians had was Russia, and now Russia is pretty much out of the gate for a while. So
Mineral field
For a little bit.
depleted.
it'll probably be a lot longer than a little bit.
Let's hope so.
Not enough minerals.
I don't think they're gonna win, just straight up. But that's me.
I mean, at this point, they can't really, like, with the amount of, like, blood and treasure they've spent, even if they get all the regions they want from Ukraine, it's like, yeah, was this really worth it in the end?
For them, they're going for total annexation because they think that NATO or somebody down the line is going to kick them in the teeth.
Well, like, they already failed on that front, because fucking Sweden and Norway's joined in NATO, which is arguably much worse than if Ukraine joined NATO.
It's bad, but the thing that everyone does not acknowledge in that conversation is the Turks are fucking everything.
Especially the Norwegians, because the Norwegians have already proven, like, yeah, we'll put fucking Russians in the ground. We'll do it again. Well,
Tell me the Finnish.
Russians
Tell
and
me
the
the Finnish.
Finns?
The
Yeah,
Finns. The Norwegians are
Finns,
already
not-
NATO.
Yeah, look, they're all fucking Skyrim people. Who cares?
Like, I'm a Scandinavian, so I think I can give you the clear to say that, but I don't know. I don't know if the new Discord
I
terms of
probably
service would
got
allow that.
some Scandi in me too. Like,
Mineral field.
my family came from the Midwest, at least on my dad's side.
Not enough minerals.
Some of them. I don't know too much about my granddad, the probable Klansman.
Not enough energy.
Just making all the wins for yourself, aren't you?
KOE is in the chat. He recognizes your voice, Tiberius.
Of course he does.
You guys allies in the fight against the left, or?
No, we're co-hosts of a show together. So.
Oh, cool. Oh, he's a cool guy.
I like him.
Well, he's in the chat now, so be nice to him for sure.
Go.
Don't talk
I
shit.
mean,
Go
I
away,
hope
kid.
you'd like him. Like, he is your co-host. It'd be really
Awkward.
weird
Hey,
if you
sometimes-
did.
Sometimes the best co-hosting situation is when the two don't like each other. Just look at the Mythbusters.
Do they not like each other?
No,
No,
Jamie and Adam
no.
hate each other. Well, it's more, apparently from what everybody says, it's more Jamie than Adam.
You're killing my dreams.
I can believe that.
I thought they were good friends.
Yeah, they actually didn't like each other, and like Adam has been very talkative about it. Jamie doesn't say much. But I'm just like, yeah, we don't get along. Like, it sucks, but you know, we're adults. We can get shit done. But you know, we don't see eye to eye. And apparently, since the show has ended, like they don't talk to each other.
Jesus.
I wonder when Adam Carolla and Jimmy Kimmel stopped liking each other.
Oh yeah, that's another one. They apparently hate each other too.
Well, they always had a weird relationship, though. That's
I'm
less
guessing
surprising to
it's
me.
probably like a lot of comedians when Adam started going a little more right and Jimmy started going a little more left with his politics.
Yeah, there was a pretty big
I don't know. I don't know what the hell happened to Hollywood to make it super fucking left, but Jesus Christ, these people need to get their shit together.
Dude, it
It's
is
so
pretty bad.
bad. It's like, it's so left. Like, I'm like, what are you all huffing?
Here's
Like-
the thing, it's not even left. It's all performative fucking. They don't believe in any of this shit. They're all there just worshiping their child-eating owl god Moloch.
Okay, wait. The views expressed by Napalm are not mine. Let's make that clear.
Yeah, I saw that
These are
Tim
mine
Allen
and
was
Alex
denied.
Jones's.
I do think I will agree though that I do think a lot of it is performative. I think almost all of it is performative. I mean, we're literally talking about people who are in the business of like acting, right? Giving sort of like trying to meet what people want to hear. And I have thought for a long time now that there's a reason why all like their opinions shift with whatever the given whatever the given of the time political goal is or narrative. And I think this is like the biggest weakness when it comes to people who look towards celebrities for like moral wisdom. And
They're fucking up there.
yeah, but like so
Also,
many
too,
people do it.
If you only count the actors, then yeah, like Hollywood has like a left-wing bias, even if it is superficial. But people forget about the producers and the
It used to
money
be
people in
such-
Hollywood, and they are
It used
not leftists.
to be a right-wing hellscape, and now it's funny because it's like literally couldn't be more opposite.
Denzel Washington. There's a
some of
man
it-
who I think you could idealize a little bit.
I
What
think
is
with
his
actors
fucking-
in particular, I got a theory with this lactoid.
Yeah.
I think it is overcorrection from the blacklist of the 50s.
See, here's the problem. I don't really know anything about like the history of Hollywood. All I know is that like it's actors and they're super left wing, and that's about it. Is there like actual lore to this shit? Is there like an explanation as to why they're also hyper left wing?
Yeah, like
Sure there-
back in the 50s during the McCartney hearings, Hollywood in particular got hammered really hard, and it led to like some actors got blacklisted, but it was mostly screenwriters who got blacklisted.
I see.
And then that became probably like one of the big, if not the first, but one of the first like big dividing lines in Hollywood was where you stood on the blacklist.
I've heard that some people actually, to this day, like I know Scott talks a lot about how good McCarthy was. Some people really still like him.
I mean,
So the problem
he was
is
right
that
about,
McCarthy
like,
was.
there being a lot of communists in the government at the time. Like, he was correct, but like he was paranoid and he was wrong about it being a plot. It was just like, no, these people just happen to be part of a political party.
Go ahead, Tiberius. What were you saying?
Well, I was largely going to agree with what he had to say there just a second
Yeah.
ago. It's like a lot of it was somewhat true. Like there was people who were really strong sympathizers, like straight up. The problem is that like they weren't really doing much of anything. They were just like, yeah, communism kind of sounds cool, man. But they weren't like selling secrets to the Russians kind of shit.
So I think KOE just, I think
everybody did get spooked after the Rosenberg shit.
I have no idea what that is.
That's
But
when the Rosenberg sold the secrets of the nuke to the Soviets, which
I should know about
technically
that.
the Soviets already had the nuke, but they were like, yeah, we would like to see how the American nuke works just to double check things before we start tossing this around.
Nah.
That makes sense.
Nah, they got all of the secrets from us. Apparently
I mean, they
during
probably did. Because like the Manhattan Project was just riddled with fucking Soviet spies. And I forget
Right.
which one of the fucking dudes on the Manhattan. It's not Oppenheimer. It's somebody else. But there's one of the dudes is very heavily probably gave secrets to the fucking Russians flat out.
Well, there's a big assumption, and I think this is actually pretty valid, that there was a couple of people within the Manhattan Project who are like, we can't allow the United States to be the only one with it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, look, we can't let one power have this. Like, let's give it to the others to make it more balanced. And it's like, well, congratulations, assholes. You gave us the Cold War for fucking 50 years. Thanks.
Well,
One thing I wanted to say real quick.
Go ahead.
Well, just because KOE put it in the chat, and I actually fully agree with it, which is, I mean, Hollywood's going to go with whatever is the most advertiser-friendly opinion. And the advertiser-friendly opinion is going to be what is kind of reflects the whatever the current consciousness is of enough people with spending power. And that's why I think you see Hollywood having the opinions it does, right? Not super left, or to the point where like they're all communists and super like class obsessed, but at the same time, you know, kind of targeting very inclusive, targeting kind of like the big city, very with spending power, like liberals basically.
Conservatives, if you want Hollywood to stop targeting the gays so hard, let gay people adopt children. One of the reasons Hollywood and all these motherfuckers target the gays is because they have disposable income, which they wouldn't have if they had children to spend that shit on.
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that nearly as much as the big issue here is that
we can't just tax gay people for being gay.
We're not going to do that. But what I think the reality.
I'm pretty sure.
Hold on. Wait.
Unconstitutional.
Let Tiberius speak. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm like, is my mute on? I'm about to start screaming at somebody.
No, you're good.
So,
I got some lag. It's fine.
Yeah, the big issue with this one, and I've said this very much, is that like the problem with the right versus the gays is that the majority of the right is just super jealous because the gay community is growing at record numbers, and the right can't get people into church, and it's pissing them off because they're like, hey, why is it that the people that we that we have kind of shit on forever are now the guys that are literally the ones that are just going away with the story. And they're having an issue with that one because it's like, hey, you know what? We're not super bigoted. We're good people, right? And then they just can't sell it.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I think my way is a little easier. Just let them adopt, and then they won't have as much money, and then advertisers will not be interested in them as much.
I'm strongly pro-adoption, even if it's for particularly for gay folks, because one, I think they're nature's natural foster parents.
True.
But two is you know what? I don't like abortion, so I'm 100%.
Also, too, you know who some of the most conservative motherfuckers I've ever talked to are? Old
Gay people.
fucking Gen X boomer gays.
Yeah.
Really? I
Like
have
the
not
gays
no
Oh, yeah.
experience
who
at all.
survived the AIDS epidemic became. I mean, they didn't become like Reaganites because they still do hate that motherfucker for what he did. But, like, they are not down for a lot of, like, the new gay stuff. A lot of them don't even fucking eyes.
A lot of them are anti TQ. Like they think the
Yeah.
queer movement and the trans movement
I
getting
mean,
into
hell,
the
a
movement.
lot of them are just like LG. That's the only thing that matters. Nothing else. B, T, Q, everything, all the other letters, go fuck yourself.
One
Yeah?
one question I have is, so
That's
I
why
know
they
that
stole Freddie Mercury from us. And by us, I mean the bisexuals.
um, one question I have is, you said that you're not in favor of abortion, Tiberius, and there's been this has been something that, I mean, obviously there was the big hoopla since Dobbs, right? Dobbs decision came down and everyone was like freaking out about it. But I'm curious as to what your position is, especially because of like lately. What I've noticed is I think the arguments in favor of abortion are really weak because nobody's had to make it the past 40 years because of Roe versus Wade. I think that like most of the people don't even know, like there's a few strong arguments I suppose, but most of the
got
people don't
lazy.
even know, yeah, they don't even know what the strong arguments are, it seems like.
Also, too, not only that, Lactoid, a lot of their arguments are built off of the foundation of Roe v. Wade, which was already shaky ground, which is why it got struck down.
Right.
Well, I'll put it this way. I wish I could be pro-choice, to be honest. I wish I could be like, hey, you know what? This is something that I don't believe in having a universal concept for because it's complicated, and I can trust my fellow Americans to go out in the world and make the best decision for themselves and for their families. The problem is that through one fault or another, we have this conversation to where you have throw the fetus in the bin, and it's just a clump of cells, yada yada yada. Like these arguments are inhuman and terrible, and I'm like, I can't support any of this shit. I don't want to entertain any of this shit. It's awful. But until we can actually have a real conversation where we all agree that abortion's pretty well bad, but there's reasons why we need to have some, I'm just not on board with any.
What do you think about like framing it as, I think the recent like move has been to like to frame it as like healthcare, which I mean I guess like under a broad definition it would be, but I mean I don't think it's just
It's even
healthcare.
worse.
I don't think it's just healthcare. I think that it's definitely like there's a moral, there is like a moral element to it, and that needs to be addressed. This is not something that can be solved through like dogmatic taglines of
Right.
you know,
Are you
this is
talking about the pro-abortion moral arguments?
not so the pro-abortion moral arguments are interesting, and I actually like some of them in some ways are actually pretty convincing, I think. But the problem is, like, a lot of times when I talk to pro-choice people, I never really get those arguments. Instead, what I just get is like people like chanting almost. They're just like, no, I think it's a woman's right to choose. This is healthcare. And it's largely just a complete sidestep about like, well, I get all that. I get you think all that, but like, have you contested with this, right? And they just never seem to directly answer the argument. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
I don't think people have the remotest sense of ethics or morality anymore. And I'm not saying that people aren't moral, but I think that morality actually is a massive social engine. That's why religion's been so important throughout human history. Is that that's largely where most people get their morals.
All right.
Because developing your own moral code, you can do it, but it takes a lot of fucking work and a lot of introspection. So anyway, to make a long story short on this one, I think there's some strong moral arguments for both sides of this conversation. I do lean more with the lifers on this, but it's just part of my own particular viewpoints. I hate most of the arguments that are made by the pro-abortion folks.
What if you were in charge? What policy would you put in place?
God, that sucks.
That's the hardest. That's not the hardest question. That's the fucking hardest question.
Well, for me, honestly, where we kind of are now is pretty much fine with me. It's like you got what, in most places, 20 weeks to decide, and by that point, most people would know if they're actually pregnant or not. Yada yada yada. You've got you've got a number of restrictions depending on where you are to where you can engage a little bit more loosely or not. And while I don't like that, I think that's one of the beautiful parts about the federal system. So I'm not too opposed to where we are, to be honest.
Where so, because minors, like some places just have it straight out illegal now, right? But
I don't think anyone's gone for the total ban. I think some places have gotten down to like 15 weeks, and they're having a conversation on 11. But like,
I think Oklahoma might have done a total ban.
no, I think Oklahoma actually didn't. It came up and they actually didn't do it. So I can tell you right now, the state that I'm in, there was
a few states had those like weird laws of like
the pre-existing bans. Yeah, the trigger laws.
Roe v. Wade, and I think a lot of those have been kind of already thrown out because it's like you can't really do that. You can't make a preemptive law. That's what the fuck.
And Indiana tried to get really close to it, but our own court system struck it down. They're like, that's not kosher. Like, no. And I honestly believe that was a plan.
Right. So, real quick, just for the benefit of somebody in chat, your answer was basically that like the current status quo is all right. One of the things though, at least in my state, it is banned. So, it's not like they don't have like an official like we know this is to be banned now, but they're not offering it anymore. They were just saying, look, until we get more guidance on this, we're not going to do it. And so they have ceased providing the service. So people who want the service do have to like go to a neighboring state. But that is something that you brought about like federalism, I think, is interesting here because isn't it? I think there's some states that are saying we're going to put like funding into driving people from states where it's not allowed to our state where it is allowed. And if that's the case, if they can do that, first of all, I don't like the idea of federal funds being used for that, I don't think federal, but even state funds, I wouldn't like the idea. But they're saying they're going to do it.
That sounds like something the Californians are doing.
Yeah.
It's like, let them waste their dumb fucking money. Like, look, their ancestors met the edge of the world. They literally found the end of the world, and it drove them crazy. Because they were like, fuck, there are no dragons. We were lied to.
And this is why they became pro-choice, I guess.
Yeah, this is why they went mad, because all they can do is look out at the blue eternity of the ocean. Just waiting for Cthulhu to take them back. California. I honestly hate California than most of the red states. Except for Florida. Florida's like...
Wait, California's not red by any stretch of the imagination.
Man, I'm glad climate change is gonna wipe you out.
Jesus. In my
I think,
opinion, go
sorry,
ahead.
Lexi.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I think the problem with the abortion thing is what a compromise looks like. So you've got one side saying no abortion ever after the sperm hits the egg, and the other side saying you can abort it 5 minutes before it comes out of the vagina.
Mm-hmm.
The compromise has to be you can have an abortion up to X day, but then if you don't, you have to have this kid. And that's the only compromise that's going to work, but it's going to lead to, no side is probably going to be willing to meet there.
I think the compromise is actually going to be different. I think the compromise is not going to be like, this is where we all come together on. I think the compromise is going to be like half the states are going to have it like up to birth, and half the states are going to ban it completely. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah,
because-
probably.
Yeah.
But either way, like there has to be, in order for like what you and me would probably call a compromise is there is going to be a situation where a woman doesn't want to give birth to a kid, but they like legally have to. That's the only way it's going to work, and that's hideous to a lot of people. But
Yeah.
You know the history, right, Lactoid, which behind like why abortion became like this in terms of like no compromise ever.
Well, it was because of like Roe v. Wade, right?
Well, it was partially. So the big reason is because back in the 70s, when what we now call the religious right in this country was starting to form around like the Catholics in the Northeast and the Southern evangelicals. The Southern evangelicals never really cared about abortion all that much. Like Protestants like don't care about like that whole like the sanctity of the unborn. Like it's not something that's directly in the Bible. So they're like, yeah, like you probably get your soul at first breath, like it says in the Bible. But the evangelicals did care about their religious schools being desegregated. So they were willing to have common ground with the Northern Catholics on abortion.
Yeah, I don't know any of like the. I mean, all I know is that there was a debate. There was like an ethical debate. I don't know like how the different, obviously besides Catholics who've pretty much, they've always been against it, despite the fact that religious group actually gets them the most, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. But
in fact, Plan B, invented by a Catholic. So is birth control.
Really, I don't know what birth control was. That's interesting.
Yeah.
yeah, even today, though, the Catholic Church acknowledges that like if a complications lead to an abortion, that's saving the mother, not killing the kid.
Yeah.
Today, anyway. Probably not like 20, 30 years.
This is also
What
why
I
they got rid of which is it, limbo or the other one?
Yeah,
the
limbo.
Unbaptized baby. Yeah, they got rid of limbo because they were like, nah, the unbaptized babies, they do. I think that was part of Vatican II, or it was a decision that came later.
I don't
What
know
I've
the
always
full.
found hilarious.
I don't know
that,
the
like,
full religion stuff, but I just know that like it was a debate that was for sure being had, and then like the discussions
I mean,
ended.
it was mostly civil up until like the late 70s, early 80s when, we kind of see the fucking nascent start of like the fucking hellscape of politics that we fucking exist in now, of like constant fucking news cycle. Everybody's always on fucking edge about something. There's no point where we can just de-escalate. It's just we're always turned on. I mean, hell, Lactoid, this is a big reason why I've been so in such a good mood, not being in the Destiny server. Just not hearing dumb shit day in, day out that makes me want to tell people things that will break TOS. It feels nice. It feels nice just going outside, breathing in the air, fucking listening to the sounds of spring starting to creep in. The fucking birds are blooming. The flowers are singing.
The birds are blooming and the flowers are singing.
Birds and the bees and the cigarette trees.
Here's okay. This is my situation on it. I understand that feeling of just like oh, like not having conflict can be sometimes a little bit of a liberating feeling. That being said,
Additional supply depots
like
required.
I don't know. I also when I'm not like doing that, I also feel like I'm not
Like,
being
I'm not kidding you,
productive,
Lactoid.
right?
Every presidential
Unacceptable landing zone.
election of my lifetime has literally been the most important election of my life. That is how it's always been sold to me. 2004, 2008, 2012, 2016, 2020,
Bro.
and I'm willing to 2024, not going to be an exception to this.
Oh no,
I'm
for sure.
And
tired
also
of
like
living through these exceptional times. I
and
just
Napalm,
want to
can you
fucking relax.
name one president that like made an actual noticeable difference in your life?
Uh, I guess
I
H.W.
can't.
Bush, because of his shitty childhood education policies that allowed me to skim by school with a D average.
I was as a child definitely left behind. That's for sure.
Yeah, like so. I guess H.W. I mean not H.W. I guess the second Bush is the only president in my lifetime that's actually really affected me. Unless we want to go back to all of the things we can probably blame Reagan for.
I don't know like all the
And
specifics
Clinton.
about
Clinton also fucked up
child.
a lot of shit in the long run.
I don't know everything about the child left behind policy, but I do know that I was, the one thing I remember about it when it was like happening was I was really good at English language arts, but I was really bad at math. And I remember being told, well, sorry, like, God, I said that like a fucking Canadian. Sorry, we can't put you in like the specialized math classes or whatever because as a school, our school is like suffering from a relatively low English language arts proficiency as opposed to math. So you have to like basically be treated as one with the school. That's kind of like fucked up. I don't know if it actually did that, like treated every single
someone
person the
like
same.
you,
That's fucked up.
Yeah, for someone like you, it held you back. But for someone like me who had already started giving up on life at that point and was huffing like literally any aerosol canister that he could get his hands on, it's like, yeah, this is great. All I gotta do is show up, and then I could go to the library all day and just be in a fucking haze. Cool.
Sometimes you don't even need to show up. I didn't.
Jeez, guys.
I stopped showing up a lot more during my senior year when. Look, Lactoid, one of the counselors literally told me my fucking freshman year, it's like, yeah, you're not going to college. So it's like, what's the point of any of this then? If I'm not going to college and this is the end of my education.
Yeah, God forbid you be like a carpenter or a plumber.
Yeah, you're not even teaching me any cool fucking shit here. I know everything you teach me in history class because I have the fucking history channel at home.
Okay,
What are we talking about?
I'm gonna ask Tiberius a question. I want him to answer. So these two people are saying that they didn't go to class. They just stayed home and huffed paint or aerosol cans.
I'm saying that. I don't think.
Okay,
no, I shoplifted. I didn't
I
huff.
don't think Lawson's saying that.
So we got these two degenerates here. My question for you is: did you go to school like a good boy? Did we? I'm good boy school gang. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah, I went to school. I didn't fucking like it one little bit, but yeah, I went to school.
I
was
hated
out
school
back
so
in the
much.
graveyard behind school, fucking pretending to be a fucking war boy from Mad Max, finger blasting a goth chick.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know what just happened, but I don't want to hear it again.
I don't know if you've ever heard my take on goths, Lactoid. People put goths up on pedestals all the time, like, the big titty goth girlfriend. Goths are really easy to get. Goths are just white trash who have read a poem.
Okay.
Is that against the new Discord TOS? I don't know. You can't.
I
Are goths project class?
That's the other fucking weird thing about the new Discord TOS, right? How does this affect things that are using Discord for another purpose? Because the
I will
podcast
say,
we do, we record
Well,
it
hold on,
through
hold
the
on, hold on.
Discord room.
Well, go ahead, Tiberius. Go ahead.
all I'll say is that I support the goth chicks. The goth chicks are good. Leave them alone, or take them out on a nice date.
Well,
You know,
goths are
'cause they
hot,
deserve it.
but also rednecks are hot. I'm not going to say the WT word because again, I like you, Lactone. I'm going to play it safe.
Thank you.
While we're on stream.
Thank you.
Someone
I
messaged me what
could
that
definitely
means.
say redneck.
Goths?
No, the WT, like whatever the
Oh
fuck that
no,
is.
yeah, we can't
Oh
say
fuck! You should thank Napalm you're streaming. I didn't know you were streaming.
that.
All right.
Anyway, yeah, somebody messaged me and let me know what the fuck that stuff means.
I guess I could say trailer trash instead of WT.
Okay.
Can you?
Yeah, because trailer trash is more inclusive. Like,
Well, no, but my understanding is that the new
every trailer park I've ever been to, Lactoid, at least 50% is Mexican.
Okay,
let's be real here.
Stop discussing the demographics of trailer parks.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is against TOS or not.
Look,
let's be
people are
real.
good people.
Wait. Like, let's be real here. Okay, if this is actually what Discord's TOS is, they're not going to be able to enforce it. Just straight up.
That's probably
Like
true.
this is the asinine level of shit that we're getting to, where it's like you can't be offensive. I'm like, have you looked around? Like everyone's offended all the fucking time.
Right.
Like I don't know where these people get off at. I really don't. But like I'm amazed that
I
Twitch
take
hasn't
offense to
broken.
that.
Right. I'm serious. I don't know how Twitch hasn't broken, because you're telling me that you're gonna ban Destiny, but you're not gonna ban Hassan. Like, all right, like yeah, Twitch, you're doing real good there.
Well, Twitch has other problems to worry about right now.
What's
Such
happening?
as?
Yeah, what's happening on Twitch right now?
Their CEO's stepping down.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you hear about all that?
unexpectedly.
You hear about shit that I've never heard of this shit. What happened? Why is he stepping down? Some kind of allegations or just
You know,
bad
you should
business?
start watching Lactoid. You know, they might be a little too leftist for your taste, but I think you would like them anyways. There's a good YouTube news show called Internet Today, and they run through like headlines and stuff.
I'll never learn anything from a leftist. Sorry.
I mean, they're not really leftist. They don't go on about it. They're just like talk about the news and then make jokes. It's not like fuck, who's that one guy with the beard, scruffy hair? Cody Johnson. It's not like Cody Johnson.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any of these people, dude.
He does here's some news. Or
This-
now some news.
This is actually like a really good oh fuck, I'm losing. I really don't know the answer to this. So
Jane Good describing the chimpanzees to a normal person.
what was
right now.
what was the last time that Destiny got banned, and what was the reason?
He
Wasn't it the trans thing?
yeah, he pissed
Yeah, it was
everyone
most
off.
certainly that.
Yeah, he pissed everyone off because he went memeing into the sun, but he's just like, we can't have an actual conversation anymore. Like Twitch and Discord and a few others were just like, or no, it was Twitch and Twitter. We're just like shutting everything down that was related
Well, you
to
know,
trans.
Tiberius, he needs to go into his Discord for like a week and just listen to the trans debate in there. He'll know that, like, yeah, we can't have, because again, going back to the abortion thing, like the trans, because it's all tied into the bullshit culture war escalation problem.
I can tell you the exact sentence that got Destiny banned. And
Wait,
that
wait, wait!
was-
You can't say it. You can't say it, right?
Don't.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah,
Don't-
don't repeat exact sentences that got someone banned.
Yeah.
Because must have been a reason why.
Well, maybe I can say it in a. No, I won't risk your shit.
Yeah, dude, I never know. I never know what's.
Oh, Bali.
Holy
Long
shit,
time
Bali!
no
I haven't
see.
seen you in forever.
Hey.
I haven't seen you in so long. I don't even remember your voice, dude.
Blast from the
Yeah, it's got
past.
like a night mind voice almost. Like he should be telling us about like ARGs or creepypastas or something.
Have you been? We're streaming on Twitch, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, cool.
Bali is like the
Pretty good.
least likely person to break TOS.
Oh,
out
for
of
sure.
this.
for sure.
No offense to Lawson or Tiberius. I'm sure they're fine people. I know myself. I know the things I will say and do.
Additional supply depots required.
Your opinions are your opinions
Lawful
alone.
good. That's the archetype. I've been good. Working on a data engineering project.
Supply depots
Very fun, very fun.
Yeah, it's good stuff. We're working in Microsoft instead of Google for our cloud products, which is a little weird because I'm more used to Google, but it's been good so far.
Is that like a general industry shift? Is Google taking over?
No. Microsoft probably has the quarter on the market in terms of like legacy stuff. I think there's more of an uptick for Amazon, I want to say, than for Google, but I think like it's the bulk is still Microsoft.
We're talking about abortion. Boy, you missed it.
Oh, good. Such a happy topic.
Oh yeah, it might have been good, Blackjaw. You didn't dedicate this to the Trump indictment.
Me and Tiberius talked about it a little bit. I
As
mean,
it turns out, that might be a bit of a wet squib.
what's happening? So hold on, when you say a bit of a wet squib, what's happening with that? Because that's
So
something I do want to know
all the
about.
stuff about like the Secret Service and the FBI talking about like how to arrest Trump and stuff. Apparently, that's all actually came out from the Trump camp, and
What?
he's already started walking it back.
So it
If
was all
some
just
pe-
like intentional, like.
So some people are speculating that this is a bit of a trap for Ron DeSantis. Where basically they wanted DeSantis on record saying he would not extradite Trump to New York.
Wait, why would the Trump
Making him
campaign
look
want?
bad.
Well, wait, why would that make him look bad to Trump supporters? Doesn't make any
not
sense.
enough minerals.
Well, he wants to make him look bad to non-Trump supporters. Because Trump's worried about DeSantis. He thinks DeSantis...
Right. So the calculus is like, if you like Trump, you're voting for Trump. If you're not voting for Trump, you don't like Trump. So if you force like a non-Trump person to do a pro-Trump thing, you alienate their supporters.
Mineral field
Yeah.
depleted.
Gotcha.
Now, the indictment is happening Tuesday. That is happening, but it's probably going to be a lot less spectacular than everybody has hoped. It's probably just going to be Trump walking in, getting fingerprint, and taking pictures, and then leaving.
What do you guys? So, I mean, what do you think about the actual merits of the indictment?
And what are the charges?
This is because of the Stormy Daniels hush money.
Yeah,
Oh, that he paid it out of the wrong coffer?
pretty much.
Yeah, he paid it and then wrote it off as a business expense.
Not enough
Well,
minerals.
I mean, that's kind of fair. Probably is a business expense for him.
Kind of the same
See,
thing
that's
Vince
what I
McMahon
said.
Actually did.
Wait. That's what I said. So I'm gonna make the argument. I'm gonna make the argument here that this is legitimately a business expense because the whole point of a campaign, like, is to make your side look good and to
Well,
prevent
that's the
things
thing.
from looking bad, right?
And I might be wrong about this. Somebody in here or in your chat can correct me if they know. But I don't think this came from the campaign coffers. I think this came from his business coffers.
So no.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
he just-
the argument is going to be that. So is the problem that
'cause if it came
it
from the
didn't get
campaign,
taxed,
that
or
would
is
be
the
That's
problem
the
that he
argument.
took the money?
The
Because
problem-
if the problem is that he took the money, then that might. The question there is just, did he have a fiduciary duty? And if you had a fiduciary duty, then it doesn't matter whether he taxed it or not. But if it's a tax issue, then it's like, well,
believe it's the
he can claim
second.
his makeup as a tax thing. I've got to look good on camera, so that's a business expense.
I believe
Yeah,
it's
that
a
would be a
tax
business
thing.
expense, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's your argument. Your argument is this is like makeup. He's got to look good. I think the question is like, how plausible is that? Like, when something has multiple effects and only one of those effects is business related, but like,
Mhm.
is it on the whole business related enough to claim the tax credit? Like, what does the tax code say? Like, I don't know. That's like sticky.
I will say that I don't think when they were writing that code that they expected a business expense to be paying off a porn star.
Yeah.
If we're being honest. That said, though, that all being said, um, like I did look into the
I mean, you
law a
don't know
little bit.
actually. It might have actually been the like. Look, gentlemen, we don't want to call this the paying off the whore expense, so let's just make it a little more
Oh,
professional.
in the drop down menu, they were like, no, we'll go with this one. I do wonder, like, is this more like the case of, oh, I need a car for work, so I'm going to buy a car. I'm going to write it off as a business expense because I drive it to work, but I bought a Lamborghini, right? Like, okay, like a large portion of that is just personal enjoyment, and it isn't actually fulfilling like a bit, like the proportion of that that is actually fulfilling the business requirement is a very small portion.
Well, the
So I
thing I
wonder if
keep
it's similar
seeing
kind
it
of thing.
compared to is like the Vince McMahon stuff, but like the Vince McMahon stuff had the extra element of him just flat out also lying to the company what he was doing with the money.
Hmm.
And I don't think that's the case with the Trump org, because the Trump org is also being charged. So it seems like he was just like, yeah, I gotta pay off this porn star who says my dick looks like the mushroom from Super Mario.
So I actually, and this is why I think that it actually might be a legitimate business expense. And I know it seems like a stretch, but like my understanding is that it wasn't necessary. It wasn't actually like a business expense. It wasn't like this is like T&E or something. What it was is that Cohen put forward a retainer of like $400,000 something dollars, and for like legal services, and the Trump campaign paid that retainer for legal services, right? Now, confidentiality agreements they are a perfectly valid like legal expense. So I don't see why, if it's just like a regular confidentiality agreement, why that wouldn't be a business expense. Seems like it would be, but
Does she have to give the money back since she blabbed?
they were talking about suing her, but I don't know if they ever did.
I feel like, look, I'm not a fan of Trump, but in this case, if I was on that jury, it's like, I mean, look, he gave you the money to not talk and you talk, so you broke the rule. You had one rule.
And I'm gonna make you break your one rule.
Yeah, why? Boy, I feel like all these news stories are very light on what the charges are.
Yeah,
They say
because they don't know.
indictment, they say prosecutor. I mean, they say that grand jury deliberations are confidential, but come on, man.
Yeah, give us a little something.
Yeah. It's just funny that they call it hush money. Like, I feel like that's a very opinionated way to say it.
I mean, that's what it was, though.
Also, Biden had cancer. I don't know if you knew about
I mean,
that one.
but it's also hush money when you like pay someone to stop libeling you, right? And you settle,
Yeah, it's true too.
right? Like, oh, it's hush money.
Command center
I paid this money to make your nuisance go. Like, why isn't she being described as a nuisance?
What, you mean the media having a left-wing bias? There's no way. I don't believe it.
Speaking of lactoid, I don't know if you saw this one, but Biden had cancer
When? When was that?
like 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago.
additional
You got it removed, right?
Yeah, he got it removed.
Why don't I hear
Yeah.
about these things? Am I just this uneducated? I feel like I get a decent amount of news.
No, it's because we live in
It's
an
because there's too much
accelerated-
bullshit.
Yeah, too much bullshit.
Too much bullshit.
Yeah.
Time means nothing anymore. I still want to blame CERN for all of this.
You're talking
No,
about
it's because we killed her. It's because we killed Harambe and we opened up the other dimension.
We did a lot of things wrong.
it
You
all
see
started with
Biden
Harambe.
deny the Chinese money connection to his
Yeah.
family.
No. I didn't see that either. Jesus Christ, dude.
He denied it, although I think they have like the bank records, which is
add-on complete.
not looking good.
Speaking of China, Bali, not to go too much back into this, but don't know if you saw this, but did you see China's brokered a tentative peace treaty between Saudi Arabia and Iran.
You just brought this up.
I know, but
I have
Bali
not
wasn't
seen
here.
this.
I think
Okay.
Bali might be interested in it.
All right. Well, I guess we can recap.
Basically, the TLDR, China's doing something that we don't,
Yeah.
not doing for some reason.
Well,
Yes, China's getting team authoritarians together. We should be so jealous.
I forget if it's Tiberius or the other guy who was in here that brought it up, but like, the Saudis kind of know the wind for them is no longer blowing towards the west, so they're like, yeah, we might as well like get in good with China while the good in is still good.
Well, the Europeans have pretty much showed that they do not like authoritarians anymore, which would only matter if they actually, had a defense policy, but they don't. So,
Boy, are you pro-Ukraine with the whole war that's happening right now?
Yeah.
Figured. I'm just making sure.
Yeah,
So I have some-
100% pro Ukraine.
I have a good friend of mine who's he's very pro-Russia, and I've been thinking about bringing him on.
concerned
Concern
for his well-being.
Well, I don't know. I just feel like there needs to be like some kind of update to, I think, the conversation before that happens, but because it's basically a lot of the same arguments that have been said already. But I don't know. I think it'd be interesting. I think it's
What is his realization here?
So I'll give you the. I am also like pro Ukrainian or whatever for the political situation, but I think that there actually is like a pretty strong argument on the other side, and I'll put it like the most charitably as possible towards the other side, and I just want to hear what you guys think. So here's how the argument goes. There was a president. I'm gonna butcher these names, by the way. But Yanukovych, right, was elected by the Ukrainian people in a free and fair election. There was international observers that were there, and they observed the whole election, and they were like, yeah, it is a free and fair election. He won. And most of his electoral base was from the east, the Donbass and Crimea and all that, right?
The pro-Russian camp, yeah.
Yes, the pro-Russian camp. And then Euromaidan happened, and they removed him. The removal was not constitutional by Ukrainian constitutional standards. They didn't follow the rules. They didn't get the required numbers of votes to get rid of him. There's no actual there's no constitutional reason why they did what they did. And so, in a way, the democratic rights of the people living in the Donbass and Crimea and all those places were trampled, right? Their vote didn't count because they voted for this candidate who was then removed by people who didn't vote their way and removed unconstitutionally with force. So they rebelled because the idea is, well, if you're gonna we take our taxes and have us be part of your country, we have a right to self-determination per the UN standards. So we get our own countries now, and that's what triggered Russian intervention. And that's basically the argument. And to be honest with you, it's not I was looking at the timeline of everything, and that is somewhat basically how it happened, right? It wasn't like this didn't just come out of the blue. Like this came because of internal politics of Ukraine. I mean, does anybody have any strong arguments against that thought process?
If you're making this original sin, then yeah, like they have a point. The problem is like the Russians completely took this up to an entire other level. Russians basically had an basically had a ghost invasion of Ukraine, which was the Crimean and Donbass operations.
Yep.
And which basically puts their footing internationally to hell, and that was the whole, they got sanctioned in the original times, which broke their army. And then they followed it up later, 8 years later? Yeah, with a full-on military invasion with nothing short of the full occupation of the country. only if you believe in the strongest purity of original sin does this make Russia in the okay. But I will never be that level of Puritan. So
If their only goal was, if their only goal is, which it might be, is to like take over the areas of Ukraine that were voted in favor of Yanukovych, right? So Crimea, the Donbass, Zaporizhia, these places. If that is their only goal, and the people there like genuinely want to be part of that country, genuinely want to leave Ukraine and be part of Russia, and there was that intervention which basically removed an elected official, what would be the argument against that? Like, what would be the argument against them, at the very least, making those independent areas? Maybe not annexing them, but making them independent countries.
Well, I think you got a
you could go
question
about
of
that, but I think the Russians have very clearly indicated that that is not the goal. But that's me.
Okay.
I think you have a question about how much do we know what the people in the Donbass and Crimea regions actually want? Like, how much of a Russian presence was there during the, quote, free and fair elections? How much did
How many
people
people
there?
fled?
Yeah, and like how many people were, encouraged to go there by Russia? Like it's possible. So yeah, I guess I'd have two questions. One, do we know that that's actually what the people there thought? Like if we could read minds of everyone in those regions at the time, how many of them would actually in fact support Russia? And then
Also,
the second
too,
question is,
I'm sorry.
was there like a proliferation? Was there like a strategy of Russian proliferation into the regions that, could be considered, like a democratic invasion? And do we want to endorse that kind of thing? Is that, is that just the same as immigration? I don't know. Those would be my questions.
If anything, the Russian movement originally was that there was a lot of people who were a lot more pro-Russian and who were very interested in having the Russians kind of take charge. The problem is, at least from what we can tell, the Russians pissed all those people off by 2016 because the Russians leveled their cities.
I hear that. So we do have some numbers prior to the invasion.
One thing, Lactoid, real quickly.
Yeah.
At least in terms of Russia's ultimate motive, I think the early days of the war were telling. Like, they could have stayed in those regions. They could have, like, pushed out all of the Ukrainians and, like, set up a DMZ type situation of, like, look, this is a line of death. Everything behind this line is Russian now. Deal with it. But they didn't. They tried to go straight for fucking Kiev. They went for Odessa. Like, they went for regions that definitively do not want to be part of Russia.
I hear that argument, but at the same time, like, when America, like, whenever you invade a country, you go for like the important targets first to try to like kick them out of the war quickly. So I don't know how much you can read into that. We do have some data on the.
True, but Russia's really good at fighting defensive wars over offensive.
Well,
Right.
and there's like a broader context, right? Didn't Russia invade Georgia? Like,
Yeah.
even if there's like specific possible justifications for like a more limited engagement than what we've actually seen in the case of Ukraine, if we're asking like, is Russia coming to the situation with clean hands? They invaded Georgia. Like, it's pretty clear they're trying to, recapitulate a, is that the right word?
Former Soviet state.
The former Soviet Empire, and I think that your analysis can't neglect that fact.
Right. So we know the information on Crimea, and the information on Crimea is that before the war, like, most people wanted to be part of Russia, right? Before Euromaidan, even most people wanted to be part of Russia. The Donbass is a little bit more like back and forth in terms of what the people actually wanted. But at least for Crimea, I think the numbers are pretty inarguable. That's what I think. That's where I think the tough question is. Where you know, you could say the war was unjustified and the Donbass was unjustified, even though like maybe they want Russia now. Who, you know, those are made up numbers or the numbers aren't consistent. But all the numbers I've seen from like Crimea are either they want like almost complete autonomy from Ukraine or they want to be part of Russia just straight up. So I mean either or. I don't see how Ukraine is justified in just holding on to Crimea in the way that they were. And that might be like the edgiest of my opinion on this one, which is, you know, maybe Crimea should be like an independent country. And I'm not sure it actually, Ukraine should have it in the same way that they've had it all this time.
I remember reading commentary around the like Russia like shipping in people, like encouraging people to go to Crimea. And I don't know how true that is because it sounds very conspiracy theory-ish. But I wonder if it was true, would that change your opinion? Like if Russia managed to ship like, you know, 30 million people into Wyoming,
Right.
and Wyoming wanted to secede. We're just like, oh, okay, see you, Wyoming. 49 states now, darn.
Yeah. So I've heard that too. My understanding is that most of the migration happened. Um, Most of the migration happened like in the 1950s and or before. And so and then before that, Crimea was almost entirely dominated by like the Tatars. In fact, at no point in history was there like a Ukrainian majority in Crimea. It just didn't happen. It wasn't like it was never a thing. And so like if we know that, again, like kind of I think that like maybe bolsters the argument for like an independent country here, but it wouldn't really like bolster the argument for a Ukrainian Crimea at the very least, right?
The problem
It's
is
like the
that
argument of the South, right? You have these like regions,
You-
they want to be independent, self-determination, right? Are you going to override that?
Crimea was ethnically cleansed. Like that's
Yeah,
kind of the issue.
for
And,
sure.
you know, you can't make up for that now, right? The problem is that you can say, all right, Crimea can be Russian because it's majority Russian, and if they actually vote to stay Russian, fine. You know, people would have to believe the election's, you know, valid, but whatever. The problem is geopolitically, it makes no sense for Crimea to be part of Russia and not part of Ukraine because they get all their fucking water.
Upgrade complete.
Right. I mean, we have examples of other countries where they get all their water from another
Isn't
country.
that just conquest? That feels like a right of conquest.
Also, Dolly, it's funny that you bring up the southern states and the Civil War and the Confederacy, because that's what literally led to the Civil War. Was the Southerners started sending fucking people out to these new
I'll be
states to switch the fucking vote. It's where we
That's
get
funny.
bloody Missouri.
Bloody Kansas?
Yeah, bloody Kansas.
So
Yeah.
pointing to the Civil War, I think, is a really interesting one because that's what I usually think about as well when I think about right to secession. Right? Does a country have a right to leave or not? But then I also think about like the American Revolutionary War because a lot of the people in the South saw themselves as basically the equivalent of the American revolutionaries against the Kingdom of England. And this is going to be like probably you're probably going to hate this answer, and I don't blame you for hating it because it's kind of frustrating as well for me. I don't think that for any of this stuff there's actually like going to be a firm answer. I think what it is just like whatever leads to a better outcome, because nations are all arbitrary
I
anyway.
don't think you're guaranteed a peace unless like you have a constitution and your nation's constitution like flat out says like, yeah, peaceful secession, that's you could do that. Unless that's like flat out written, it's like no, you're not guaranteed like a.
So, but like
It's
what I'm
the dipshits like today who talk about like California exit or Texas leaving the union. It's like, yeah, if they did and I was president, I would fucking nuke Los Angeles or Dallas within a heartbeat.
well, that would be kind of like
I'm not
that would be
having
dramatically
a
over.
breakaway country right on our fucking borders.
Okay.
Fuck, especially with Texas would be an even bigger problem because they got all those military bases. So it'd be like, fuck, what do we do with this one?
I mean, I think that would
I
it would
get
be
the
a dramatically
realpolitik
over.
of it,
Yeah, it's the real politic. That's all it is.
but I don't think that that's doing much justifying work. Like,
I mean,
Yeah,
no,
I
it
guess when I
doesn't.
think about it, I think like
I'm just looking at it, Bali, from more like, look, looking at it from like the abstract view of the state of like, look, we can't let parts of us break away. This is how we stop.
I mean that's true. This is
This
also a
we have to
justification
fight.
for China to invade Taiwan, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's a justification for the United States to invade Taiwan, right? We need to secure our microprocessor, right? Supply and production.
So this goes into something, Bali. I've made this realization before I left D.GG in temporary exile.
Mm-hmm.
I've been kind of bothering a lot of the more liberal people in there with this like kind of like argument of like, look, might makes right never stop being the case. We might want it to not be the case. I don't want it to be the case, but it never stopped being the case.
I mean, I'd say like might makes history, right?
Not not whether or not it's right.
But I don't think it makes it right.
Exactly.
Like
I would
my
agree with that.
example of this, Molly, is like the reason the Cold War happened wasn't because like American style capitalism and Soviet style communism were the best like philosophies. Happened because they were the ones with the nukes.
Right.
This is how I'd frame it. I agree that might makes history, but I don't think it makes right. But like whatever, because these things are just arbitrary constructions anyway, right? They're invisible lines in the sand. The justification, real quick, the justification of a country comes from its ability to, I think, do good. Like if it is a better governing structure, then I think I am pleased and I will give it like the justification to succeed. And if it's like a unpleasant governing structure, then I'm going to be opposed to it. So I have no principle I have no principle against secession, but I do have a principle like again. So this is why, and then this justification is like super super like useful in the sense of, you know, I'm opposed to the Civil War because the government of the Confederate States of America was in favor of slavery, which is bad. But I am okay with like the Revolutionary War because the government was against monarchy, which is good. So,
Yeah, it's sort of like humanitarian invasions are okay.
Exactly.
Also, it is really easy with the Confederates because as long as you're not like a neo-Confederate and you can read, you can find out quite easily. Like, yeah, the Confederate founders laid it out pretty clear. This is about slavery, flat out. It's literally the opening fucking line of their fucking constitution.
100%.
But I think Lactoid's argument is that doesn't matter. Like what matters is that there was slavery, there was state-sanctioned slavery. So even if the neo-Confederates had some incredibly well-principled argument, I presume would be, no, you're still justified in like breaking apart that government because they were a slave government,
exactly,
an enslaving government. Although I do wonder, this principle in the Crimea situation should justify the Ukrainian invasion and retention of Crimea because Ukrainian's government is better than Russia's.
And that's the only reason why I am in favor of the Ukrainian side, honestly. And this
I think there's another justification potentially available there. I don't know enough of the history to make this strongly, but if it's true that the Crimean region was ethnically cleansed and that's what led to the current, distribution of views about Russia in the region, then you might say like you shouldn't profit from that. You shouldn't profit from ethnic cleansing. Right, it's like the chutzpah thing. Like you can't kill your parents and then ask for clemency because you're an orphan, right?
Yeah, but then all the annoying like with sickles next to their names are gonna be like, well, what about Israel then?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, if Israel ethnically cleanses Gaza, like, if they get enough of those settlers in there, is it okay? I mean, their principle works in that case, right?
I mean,
the settlements are bad.
That is kind of how we do operate with Israel right now with the settlements, where it's like, oh, you shouldn't do that, Israel.
Yeah,
So-
and if I think if Israel invaded Gaza tomorrow, the United States should probably have a more firm resolution against it.
We probably should, but we probably won't.
I think at the very most, though, if we're gonna go off that principle, like I agree with it, but that wouldn't give it back to the Ukrainians. At the very most, it would just it would be a Tatar state at that point, right? They would give it back to the Tatars, and then
No, I
they
don't.
would.
Yeah, I wonder about this. So, like, okay, you ethnically you go into a region, you ethnically cleanse a bunch of people there, and they say, oh, well, we should just be an independent region. I feel like that's still benefiting, right? That like what you should do is try to restore what it had been to like counterfactually what would have been, but for the ethnic cleansing, what would this have looked like? And maybe there's
right.
like a historical argument that no, this region has like always been a part of it, um, this region of the world has always kind of been one contiguous thing or something like that. So like breaking it apart, and separating out this independent region would be, like strange. That would be like the aberration. Maybe you can make a historical argument like that.
I get that. The only issue is it only became part of Ukraine like in 1950 or 1960. I forget when the exact date was, but it was
I believe
basically
it was like 52.
yeah, it was some gift basically by like the Soviet Union, like hey, we're brothers. Here you go. We're all part of the
Khrushchev,
same
I
country
believe.
anyway. Yeah, and
It was crawled to me. It was really cute.
before then, it was it was essentially like a Russian territory full of Russians because they had kicked out the Tatars, right, and ethnically cleansed them before that. So, that's the thing when we're talking about like the but-for
I keep saying that
situation,
name,
it
and
wouldn't
all I
be
can think is like,
Ukrainian, right?
did they invent that sauce just because they're a peninsula and they're surrounded by the ocean?
I
So
don't
they
think
had all that seafood?
I don't think they invented the sauce.
They
Yeah.
might have.
So
I
like
guess I
depending
don't
on the
know.
historical contingencies, it might be better for it to be an independent region from historical considerations. But I think Napalm's right. I want to kind of echo back something I heard earlier, which is like there's not like a clear justified answer. There's like just a whole bunch of interests balanced against each other. I guess for me, I think the Russian interest just doesn't exist. And I think the fact that Crimea is tied in so closely with Russia, that gives me pause that like we should be considering Crimean interests at all.
Gotcha. Yeah, a lot of people are dying over this. It's pretty sad.
Hey, tartar sauce not invented by the Tatars.
I believed it. Yeah.
Steak tartare was.
Oh.
That's just because they didn't invent ovens.
Basically, they would just put raw meat under their saddle on their horse when they were riding, and then after the stop, they would just grab the meat and just eat.
Wow. That's quite a food storage system.
Yeah. And
Not
then
even in the
later on,
backpack, but under your saddle. Boy.
and then later on, the French were like, "What if we made this fancy it up with some like raw egg and chopped onions and whatnot, scallions?"
Yeah, if I had to think of like one thing to make, like one ingredient to make raw meat even like less healthy, like even more likely to kill you, would probably be a raw egg, right?
Full raw egg, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like steak tartare is like a cry for help.
It's like, oh, what's this parasite that I'm about to get missing? I know, salmonella.
That's my big thing. And I love sushi, but I always I'm a little bit wary of the raw sushi just because.
You better enjoy it while you can.
I like sushi as well. Sashimi is a little bit scarier, because that's just like full meat.
Right.
I feel like that's. See, when you see me, I'm less scared of that because it's like it's so thin. It's like, okay, there's like nothing here that's gonna get me sick. My stomach acid will just dissolve all of it.
I don't know if that's how that works.
It probably doesn't.
Like the shape that the meat is in.
If it's thin enough, it can't get you sick.
That's why
I mean,
I'm
if
not
you
afraid
eat like a
of
little
the
of
virus.
something
That
bad,
thing's tiny. So Lactoid, who are you gonna vote for?
you know what? One thing,
boy.
Lactoid, with the Russian
say in a second.
Ukraine stuff,
Go ahead.
is how like certain people on the pro-Ukraine side will just fucking dehumanize the Russians when it's like, look, motherfucker, do you think half of these motherfuckers on the front line actually want to be there?
Yeah, that's true as
You know
well.
how many videos I've seen of Russian teenagers shooting themselves in the foot or having their friends just jump on their fucking leg?
Yeah.
I can think of a certain user that tends to live very freely that
I was
comes
also
to
thinking
mind.
of that certain user.
Mineral field depleted.
Yeah, and it's also crazy to me how much people will glorify war. Like the same kind of people who are generally like anti-war and anti-violence and very sensitive to things like how language and like ideology and internalizing like value systems can really be a form of violence will then like gleefully
Yeah.
oh yeah, oh rip them apart and like put like joyful music over like horrific combat footage.
Yeah.
That's team sport politics.
And
Dude.
it's
Yeah,
like,
people
yeah,
literally
there have been some horrific
ripped
shit that
apart.
some Russian soldiers have been doing.
Yeah,
But at
it's
the
just
same
this,
time, it's like,
the
they're
limited
literally,
war hell is really frustrating, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
they're literally
It's-
letting motherfuckers out of prison to fight on the front line. What do you it's like people, this is kind of off topic, but it's like people giving Australian shit for what they did to their natives when it's like, motherfucker, the English sent criminals to that fucking country to colonize it. Did you expect the criminals to be nice to the fucking natives?
Well, so I guess here's my point. As a conservative, when the Abu Ghraib scandal happened, I was like horrified. Like we shouldn't be treating people like this.
Right.
But now it seems like the principle is, well, were they guilty? Because if they were terrorists, then it's okay to like laugh at them being humiliated, laugh at them like being tortured to death, right? All of
Yeah,
these
as long
things
as
would
you're not
be
on the same side.
Yeah, it's like
I mean,
the
no,
hope that
but that's like
Rittenhouse
not the
gets,
principle. That's not like what the principle I was asked to endorse. The
Molly,
principle
you
I
were
was asked to
like
endorse was like Geneva Conventions and like rise above it and all that kind of stuff.
like you were in the fucking D.GG server, like back when I still gave a shit about politics and would actually argue this stuff with people about how like, no, we shouldn't fucking wish death upon the fucking Trump supporters dying of the pandemic. This is bad. Like we should want to help these people even though they're fucking shitheads.
I know a lot of people that were almost gleeful whenever like an anti-vax person died from COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's part of the like ontological evil meme, right? That if this person's bad, then it's okay. It's like good for bad things to happen to them.
I
And
don't think
that's
it's
like
a meme at
this
all.
is
I think it's
it's very
reality.
It's
deeply
actually made me
very
realize,
deeply
Molly, how
illiberal.
many
Very deeply
liberals do not actually believe in rehabilitative justice.
Well, I mean, we're not
It's
even.
like,
I don't think we're even talking about liberals at this point. I would say this is like leftists.
or just people in general, or yeah, just like,
Because leftists don't even want to be called liberal anymore.
No, I think this is
like
also
this
like
is a
like
minor
like
example,
Democrats,
but I
honestly.
can't tell you how many people I have to argue with Michael Vick on, where it's like, yeah, what Michael Vick did was shitty, But he did his fucking time. He literally did his fucking time. He went to jail. He has not done anything bad since. But people are just like, oh no, he's a dog murderer, so I'm gonna just treat him like a dog murderer for the rest of his fucking life.
Dude,
Even
people
though he
love
has done
dogs,
nothing but
Napalm.
apologize.
Napalm, you're
I-
never, you're
look,
never
Yeah.
gonna win
I
this.
love dogs. Look, I love dogs. Blackjoy, but the death of my last dog literally fucking broke me. It was the last shining light in this world I had, and I can
Jesus
literally
Christ.
fucking track how dark my life's gotten since she died.
Look,
And even
I'm with
I'm
him.
willing to be like, yeah, I'm not saying let fucking Michael Vick adopt a dog. Not saying that, but it's like, look, fuck it. I'm willing to give him a second chance. He went to jail.
Sure.
He did his time.
Here's a hot take. People should be more Christian.
Honestly, yes.
Yeah.
If only
You
they didn't
guys
suck
need
at being
some
Christian.
Jesus, right? You need like forgiveness, contriteness of a heart. You
Turn
don't
the
just
other
accept
cheek.
words. Actions speak louder than words. Be convicted in your heart, right?
Believe
That kind of
that
attitude
the
is,
deeds of the evil will undo themselves at some point.
well, I think in addition to the sort of like, it's not socially healthy to have this kind of like rigid, everyone identifying everyone with the worst thing they ever did for the rest of their lives. In addition to how that's unhealthy for society, I think it's also like crippling in a way, because take the idea of a public defender, that everyone has a right to a public defender. On this sort of a principle, if the evidence is clear enough, then not only should you not get a public defender, you should actually not get a trial, because the jury might get it wrong, right? So I think the way people, the kind of like revealed preferences of the principles that people actually endorse are like very deeply illiberal, and I would say violate fundamental human rights. It's just staggering to me that it's like from the group of people who's, are claiming an intellectual tradition that has been invested in the notion of human rights.
Well, I can't remember who said it, Bolly, but remember the classic saying, you're not immune to propaganda, and like, a lot of people on the left, like, they already have an inflated sense of their own intelligence, so
Yeah.
a lot of them easily fall for this fucking bullshit, which is why some of them are like the loudest with this fucking just being like, no, this person's evil, they did an evil thing once, like, fuck them.
Yeah, I don't know if it's more prevalent on the left. It definitely rubs me the wrong way more when I see it on the left. But I think, I wonder how much of this is like, how much this has always been true in the past, because it seems like it's getting worse. But I feel like today we have a politics of hatred, not like a politics of ideas.
For sure.
Well, you weren't here for this, but it was like, we brought it up earlier, where it's just like, ever since like really the 80s, it's just been escalation of like, that there's like no calm anymore. Like there's no like time to decompress from stuff. It's just everything always is happening all at once. Like I brought this up, Bolly, and you might have the same, because I think you're around the same age as me.
Mic off.
Every election of my life that I've voted in has been the most important election of my life, and I'm tired of it. I'm
Mic
tired
on.
of being one election away from, I don't know, fucking Hitler rising from his grave and going into an Evangelion.
Not enough minerals.
A lot of puffery. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, like, this is part of the reason why I'm so, like, black-pilled at the, because it's like, look, if we're, like, one election away all the fucking time, then, like, fuck it. We should just go ahead and just have the bad election and see what happens.
I heard some people say that they had that mentality in 2016, but I don't know how honest they're
I
being.
mean, I still had hope in 2016, like a moron.
I thought it was going to be a lot more
Fucking
interesting than it was.
Asshole Bernie Sanders.
I did
Oh,
have a lot of Schadenfreude over the like Bernie math people on like during the primaries who like, I think Mike from PA
oh yeah.
did it really famously. Where like in the span of one broadcast, he was like ridiculing the people, saying like, Bernie wasn't going to win, or that Biden was more electable, and then by the end, he was like a broken shell of a person.
Yeah, he was so pissed. I remember that.
I did enjoy that, but I kind of feel bad about that because like now it seems to me like a wasted opportunity. Like you have people who are engaged in politics, but like the mode of their engagement, like how they are engaged, the nature of that engagement is like counterproductive because of this like politics of hatred, not a politics of ideas, like not tolerating,
I mean, Bernie
any
did
amount of
try it,
space.
and like you see it with some of the people being like, they pushed against it because like Bernie didn't want to just fucking go again. He just wanted to talk fucking issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's why I liked Bernie because it was like, oh, there's no bullshit. It's just issues. It's just this angry old man ranting about how everything sucks. It's
But
the
you could
reason
see
in
you,
'08
you
I was
mhm.
a Gravel guy before I went with Obama.
That's hilarious. um you see it a lot. I remember I found it very striking when Bernie Sanders I think he dropped out of the race at some point and he was like, hey, like someone talked to him, I think it might have been Elizabeth Warren, saying like Bernie Sanders supporters are like horrible and toxic and like insulting and degrading, and that's really bad. It's going to turn people away. And Bernie Sanders basically said like, yeah, we should be united together. We're on the same team. We should like put aside some of our differences. And the response of Bernie people was like, not to endorse that message, but instead
Right.
to be like, no, Bernie Sanders is wrong. Anyone who changes their views because we're being incredibly like horrible and degrading people, those people are just weak-minded. It's just like
Yeah, I heard that
it's like
too.
Yeah,
complete absence of like self-reflection, like a willingness to compromise, which like if you're oriented toward outcomes, that's the kind of attitude you should
those are
have.
the more bitter Bernie people out. I'm more the depressed kind of Bernie person after 2020, where it's like, oh, it was just rigged from the fucking start. And I don't mean actually fucking rigged. I'm not one of those idiot Bernie supporters where it's like, oh yeah, they rigged fucking Virginia to have Bernie lose fucking 9-1. God, that still fucking hurts. I knew he wasn't gonna win this state. I campaigned for him. I knew he wasn't gonna win, but I was like, maybe it'll be like 8-2, maybe 7-3 if we're lucky. No, Biden got 90% of the vote here in Virginia during the primary.
Did you guys
Do you
see
guys
the?
think that?
Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I was going to ask. Do you guys think that? Well, obviously, I'm sure you'd agree. Some people are more prone to dogmatic thinking and like dogmatism. I wonder what the mechanisms are that get people to that, like whether it be genetic factors, upbringing, stuff like that.
That's an interesting question because I usually try to explain it in terms of like other ideological commitments they have. So I'll think like, oh, well, it's the people who are like super long-termism who hate compromise because compromise is like a short-term gain.
Right.
And so if you're committed to this like long-term view, then it like becomes more and more important to like not make it's okay to like lose out on temporary gains because we're here for the like the long-term gains. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, where does that disposition come from? Which disposition came first? What's doing the supporting there? I think that's an interesting
I think
question.
like
I don't know if.
would
Well,
say,
Napalm,
oh,
one second.
sorry,
I wanted to
Austin.
follow up real quick. I was like one of those like edgy atheists, back in the day with like Matt Dillahunty and the Atheist Experience, and I
Godless
remember
heathen, right?
what's that?
Godless heathen, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was watching Atheist Experience when it was like on, when it was like TV, but I've watched that show go from what it was to like just being opposing religion to being dogmatic, like leftism essentially. And it's interesting to me that people like Like I have respect for religious people that aren't like basically like dogmatic, right? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's interesting seeing people going from like fundamentalist whatever faith to fundamentalists like leftists or whatever. It doesn't have to be leftist, but that's the best example I have. And I wonder
Yeah.
like what mechanisms
They
like
just changed the bumper
yeah,
sticker.
exactly.
Now they're
Yeah.
dogmatically this instead of dogmatically that. I mean, this is complete speculation. I don't know what the correct answer is, like psychologically,
Well, I don't
what's
think there
going
is
on
one,
there.
but yeah.
But I kind of suspect that just for most people, critical thinking is hard. Critical thinking like makes you uncomfortable to question your very deeply held beliefs, even when those deeply held beliefs are like very central to how you live your life. And I see like when you look at religious people and you just ask them like, why do you believe in God? Do you have do you have a reason to believe in God? That discussion quickly becomes very tense, right? And not just because it's something that's very important to them, but because like that mode of engagement is very alien, right? It's very alien to like take something that's so near and dear to your heart and like expose it to maybe being wrong.
Yeah.
You're
And I
taking
think,
away Linus's safety blanket in a way.
yeah, and so I think one of the benefits of like classical education is that you go through that process so much that you become comfortable. You become comfortable holding two things in your head, which is, it's very important to me that this is true, and and uh, this is very near and dear to me,
I think
and we like, what's the status of the arguments? How can I explore what reasons are out there that are
I think the
undergirding
big
this?
thing
Right.
that plays into it, and this is one of the things that ultimately got us Trump, is everything just feels shittier, or is actually shittier now.
No.
Yeah,
My phone
What's
folds in
shittier?
half, dude. How are things shittier? I don't understand.
Yeah, but there's a crease in it.
Yeah,
That fucking sucks.
No, it's fine. It's no big deal. Look, there's a famous saying, which is things are always getting better, and everybody thinks they're always getting worse, right? It's kind of that thing like
are they
nostalgia.
not like
Yeah, it's like the
like
nostalgia when you play like an
millennials?
old game that sucked, and
Like
you're
at
like, oh,
least
this
with
was so fun.
millennials, I can't speak for like
Not fun.
like Gen Xers or Boomers, but well, we know this isn't the case with fucking Boomers. But like millennials are like the first generation where they are like at this point in their life, they are worse off than their parents.
Well, it's contrast is what creates this. Like if we live in a wilderness, like, and we're fine for the most part, like there's disease and like old problems, and then we go from there and we see like this other civilization that's like awesome and their phones fold in half. Now our lives aren't as awesome because we have that contrast.
Like
Where
my
if we didn't
parents, when
have
they
it,
were
we would
my
have been
age,
kind of more satisfied.
they had a house, they had a family.
Yeah, I mean, I do get the thrust of that kind of comparison, but I just wonder like how much of it is actually true. Like
Yeah.
if you look at home ownership statistics, if you look at like quality of life metrics, like how many of our parents died before they were 80, right?
Hmm.
How many people were dying from cancer? How many, how much better potable water do we have? Like it's true that we have it seems like people have less financial independence in the sense that like there's a lot of people living at home with their parents. Their like living situations aren't as good. So I do wonder, is the impression that we have of that actually accurate? And two, if it is accurate, are there other things that can compensate for it? And three, if it is accurate, what actually produced it? Right? Because I'm tempted to go like libertarian or neoliberal here and be like, yeah, the people should own their own homes. There should be easier to live independently, which is why we should get rid of all these stupid zoning laws that artificially restrict the supply of houses.
And to go back on something Lactoid was saying earlier, the Zoomers are just, maybe I'm getting old and crusty, but the Zoomers are probably fucked in their own weird fucking way.
Like,
they're a generation raised by fucking tablets.
do you guys think that like the younger generation that, let's say like the people that like just hate Elon with every fiber of their being, would they be happier if Elon still existed but they just didn't know that he existed?
No, they'd find something else to bitch about.
Well, oh no, I mean like what Elon like embodies, like the billionaire. Like if they just went about life not even knowing that
Oh
there
no,
was
they
this
just find
class
the
of
next
people.
billionaire, just some.
No,
I don't know.
napalm.
Who's
I'm
number
saying they
two?
don't even know billionaire is like a concept. Like you don't know this other world civilization is there. Like now are you more satisfied with
It's like an
is
Elysium
knowing what makes
where
you
like
unsatisfied?
the billionaires live in a space station that we don't know about.
Yeah, like I have a theory that jealousy is a huge driving factor of what makes people unhappy
I feel like it'd be like
or
like you
unsatisfied.
probably heard it, Lawson. Like the whole, oh, this is the reason why a white supremacist country wouldn't work out because the second you get all the white supremacists together on the island, be like they would just start killing motherfuckers with freckles. with
His
green
eyes are slightly
They'd
less
find
bluer. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they'd find some new outgroup to fucking hate. And I
Yeah,
think it would be like, yeah, they would just start hating the other motherfucker, the millionaires at the top of the totem pole.
yeah, I think. Yeah, my diagnosis is probably something like this. What's important about billionaires isn't that they have a lot; it's that they're responsible and they're identifiable.
I will say
So
this
if you
current
could
crop
paint,
of billionaires sucks.
if you could paint any, Bill Gates is pretty awesome as a billionaire.
He's okay, but I'm like,
There's like a charitable foundation that's done like super like incredible work and has advanced a lot of really important research.
I'm just
I mean,
saying, like, we
that's
need more
better
like
than Elon
Carnegies.
Musk.
Yeah, but he tweeted that mean thing one day.
Yeah, he
so-
did. Have you thought about that?
Bill-
He did tweet that mean thing.
I think the advent of the modern computer is probably has done more for literacy than 10,000 Carnegie funded
Also, if
libraries
you're a
ever
crazy
did.
leftist, you hate Bill Gates because he does like quote unquote eugenics projects in Africa.
Sure. But yeah, I mean they'll hate him anyway because they'll
and he
say
owns all
their
the-
ill-gotten gains.
Although it is weird that he owns all the farm.
So yeah,
That
I
is
think what's important, I think what's driving the like anger and dissatisfaction isn't so much that the billionaires have a lot themselves, but it's that they're responsible and they're identifiable. So like the material thing adds to it, like the jealousy component is significant, right? Like it's important that in Nazi Germany that the Jews be painted as wealthy. You know, if they had been poor, it would have been like harder to
Yeah,
do
wouldn't
that
have
kind
made
of thing.
sense. Yeah.
And the idea that they're like hoarding things for themselves and that if you get rid of them you'll like release this, that much is true, but I think the reason it's like the things that are doing the work there, it's also important to acknowledge that it's like they are responsible for the state that you're in or the state that the people you care about are in, which is why I think you can have hatred of like poor black people come up for racists, right? They don't hate black people because they're so rich and they have so much, but I think it might be similar in terms of like how much the awareness of this is like, you know, gives them
Also,
these
Elon
like
is
negative experience.
Pretty cringy. Like I think that's the thing that hurts him the most. Cause like, if we are talking about like billionaires doing good stuff, like Elon has done some cool shit. Starlink, pretty good. Like the reusable rockets, I get into arguments about that all the time, but it's like whatever. Like it's good somebody's using them, I guess.
I think a lot of the hatred is just people being able to like I hate to do the cop out of social media, but like being able to just put your every thought. Yeah, this is my question. How many people or how many less people would hate Trump if Trump had never tweeted anything ever?
See, I think less people would have loved him because as much as
True.
I hate Trump,
That's a good point. Yeah.
Trump inarguably top 5 Twitter user of all time. He had some bangers.
He did.
That's a good point. I didn't think about it that way.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to Twitter, so I
He
kind of
wasn't
don't
number
get
one.
like.
Went/drill will always be number one. But like the whole Rosie O'Donnell saga, where like every tweet he would just call her like, "Oh, Rosie's a monster." That stuff would just crack me up reading it.
Well, I wanted to ask this question before. This is my now that we're back on Trump. I think it's a good time to ask this. Guy, who are you? Who you're gonna vote for? You're a very moderate, reasonable conservative. You gotta
Oh God.
say it. Say it. DeSantis.
I'm gonna vote for Trump. Fuck it.
God, it's so hard for me because Biden does a lot of the core stuff correctly, but I do want someone better on the economy, but I don't know that any of the Republicans are going to be better on the economy except by accident. You know, like at least the Republicans are willing to countenance an explanation other than corporate greed for inflation. I mean, Yellen's been pretty good about that. And Yellen has like acknowledged that inflation is an issue, and it was like an issue, you know, before they acknowledged it, which was bad. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't really seen a lot from like DeSantis. I don't think I could vote for Trump, but I haven't seen much from DeSantis to convince me that he's anything other than like a culture warrior. All this like crazy stuff in Florida is like just insane.
Remember, Nikki Haley also announced Bali, so...
Wait, you don't like the culture stuff that's happening in Florida?
Yeah, like the don't say gay stuff, like banning drag queen story hour, that kind of stuff.
I'll be honest, Lacto, I think the culture war stuff's gonna hurt DeSantis more in a general election than it will.
No way.
I actually
no
don't.
way it hurts him more.
Because
No.
because here's the thing, if that last midterm is anything to go off of, a lot of people are kind of fucking sick of a lot of culture war shit.
As long as you have Democrats standing up needing to defend a drag queen story hour, the Republicans will be winning.
Yeah.
So I think the culture war stuff, like in terms of like governor races, stuff like that, state senates, I think it'll still like be very much in play. But I think I don't know. I think DeSantis is like. I just don't think DeSantis in general is going to be doing good because, like, he is the presumed front runner, even though he has not announced. Everybody is basically like, yeah, it's going to be DeSantis, and because of that, I feel like the Madden curse of politics is going to hit him because nobody who is
he can't overperform. Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody's the front runner this far out has ever gotten the nomination because they get beat up too much.
Here's why I think that DeSantis is actually one of the best decisions for them. So the first thing is...
Hold on, I have to turn off my headset since you just said that.
Now to be fair,
go ahead.
We don't know who else is like because the campaign doesn't really kick off until August.
Right. So, but here's my logic here. So, DeSantis has a pretty respectable win record in terms of. He flipped Miami-Dade. He flipped the major urban area.
Better than the Trump candidate.
No, he flipped the major urban area, like the big one in Florida, right? He flipped it to be mostly Republican. The culture war stuff has been. Yeah, it's been like taglined as some pretty like, you know, don't say gay.
Florida.
Well, real quick though, but the don't say gay bill was, I would argue, pretty like it was misnamed, and it was like that don't say gay bill. That phrase comes from its political opponents.
Right, like Obamacare.
Well, exactly like Obamacare. Yeah, if they called it Romneycare, that would be something else they could have done if they wanted to, but that wouldn't have suited their interests, right? So. Why is the culture war thing that is so effective? Well,
with Florida,
it's been effective. Like politically, I don't know why it wouldn't work for most Republicans in the country.
Florida, despite how much money the Democrats have just thrown into it these last 5 election cycles, Florida's been trending red for a while now, and like solidly.
Miami, though, like a major urban area that's primarily minority, like if we're just looking at like voter demographics.
Remember, like, and this is the thing that bit
Cubans, I know.
This is the thing that almost bit fucking Democrats in the ass in 2020. especially the Latino bloc, is not fucking united like the African American bloc politically.
Mm-hmm. That's probably true. Yeah. Still, the fact that he was able to
It's
flip it to
it's not
mostly
just the
R
Cubans in
is
Florida
unique.
either. It's the fucking Mexicans that came here illegally, or the Hondurans came here. A lot of them do not fucking like illegals, and also do not like fucking socialists.
Yeah, I think there's a couple reasons to think that the like trans issues are going to be winners for Republicans electorally. It plays very strongly into a criticism of Democrat governance as being a kind of like intrusive nanny state, right? So like, oh, they want to let these people into your bathrooms, right? The government, like, because they want you to be woke, are going to like expose you and your kids and your children,
Your
your
children,
little
that's a
baby
big one.
children, to risk, right? And I think that that kind of messaging has been successful in the past. And like Lactoid said, I don't think there's any, I'm not sure what reason there would be to suspect it wouldn't be effective in the future unless there's some other more important issue. So I
Right.
think
I mean,
Lactoid,
we
to
are
what you
gonna
were
have to wait
saying,
until 2024 to see if that, because that last midterm was fucking weird. So it could have just been like an anomaly that the Democrats didn't get their teeth kicked in as hard as they should have.
Most Floridians like have a very high approval rating of DeSantis, and
Well, no, I'm talking about the midterms in overall. Because remember, everybody thought the Republicans were gonna fucking
they didn't do
sweep
that well.
both houses, and it
That's
just
true.
didn't materialize like they thought it would.
They didn't do well, but
And so it could that midterm could just be an anomaly, and
but look at the candidates though.
The message enough, but
look at the
well, look at the economy, right?
Right.
Like an incumbent who is presiding over
the other thing.
a horrible economic downturn.
I don't think the Republicans are even going to have to go on the culture. I mean, maybe in the primaries to prove like which one's more conservative, but like in the general, I feel like the safest bet for the
they
Republicans.
complement the issue is that they complement each other, right? This is like a double whammy critique of Democrat governance. Number one, intrusive, 1984, wrong think. Plus, they can't, they took so much control over the economy and they tanked it, right? They kept us from work, they kept your kids out of school, all of this, and the economy still tanked. Right, so let us in. We'll get the crazy spending under control, this inflation, hidden tax. Right, I think all of these narratives paint like a coherent picture, even if it isn't like a true one or a fair one. They like complement each other well. I think it just seems like a strong narrative that like makes a lot of internal sense.
I mean, I wasn't alive for it, but I've seen like documentaries and stuff about the time period and about the election specifically. For the outside look at it, it does really feel like this is like, this feels like Carter. This feels like the position Carter was going into against Reagan.
High inflation, low unemployment, stagflation. Right, wasn't that a thing?
I feel like it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the economic stuff, but yeah, it's a bad position to be in, I think, for the Democrats. And I would be a much more willing Biden voter if I felt like he wasn't tipping his hand to this like insane MMT.
See what has me scared, Molly, is
left-wing stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I feel like the Democrats aren't going to read too much into the last midterms and be like, you know what? The Republicans didn't do that well last time, so we don't have to go as hard this time. And it's like, no, you probably should.
Yeah, I think there's like two bad cases, right? Like a bad Democrat win and a bad Democrat loss. And to me, I think like a bad Democrat win would look like Republicans are traitors, January 6th, Trump, transphobic, homophobic, all that stuff. Plus, oh, we're going to do student loan forgiveness. We're going to do, we're going to like keep the, government spending uh, really high. We're going to increase it even more. We don't have to worry about deficit spending. So that I feel like they're going to go like full, like you might say like woke populist. To me, that I think that can win, but I think it would be a bad
Now,
win.
one thing I would be curious if this is like kind of an echo of like the Jimmy Carter Ronald Reagan election. The economy didn't improve under Reagan really until like the very end of his first term into his second term. But he managed to like kind of skate that because, Reagan, for all his faults, was like kind of charismatic in his own way. He made people feel like comfortable and shit. So, and there was just like kind of again, like it's subjective, but there was just a general feeling that like, oh, the badness of the '70s are over. Like it's time for the '80s. Like hair metal and cocaine, baby.
So I actually I agree with a lot of the at least in spirit. Maybe like they go too far or whatever, but like have you
And I don't think
seen
this. I'm sorry.
well yeah, the drag show stuff, right? I mean, have you seen some of those
It does
shows?
seem like people are doubling down on that, where it's like, oh, now we're just gonna have drag shows out of spite, and it's like, I don't think that really helps anything.
Yeah, I've seen like the bad cases, and that like people will defend them, but a lot of people don't defend them. And when they say like, "Oh, I'm defending drag queen story hours or drag queen performances," they think like, so like a male presenting person dresses up like Elsa and reads from a book. That's like in their head. That's what they're defending.
Yeah, they're thinking of a hairy motherfucker like me just going in there with my voice being like, yeah, I'm Princess Bubble Cups, and we're gonna talk about the little train that could.
Well, so the issue though, and what like recently DeSantis revoked the liquor license for, I think it was the Marriott that hosted one of these events, is, I mean, it was pretty graphic. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, you had a drag queen go up on stage who had these great big fake tits in a box.
Yeah, actual drag shows are no place for children.
No place for children, and
but if it's like,
it was advertised as a family-friendly event, and that was like the fucked up part about it.
Yeah, that shit's weird. But if it's just something like, oh, just some dude who like looks like a lady is gonna go down to the library and read as a princess, it's
well,
like,
that's what they would think, right? I mean,
it's like that's fine, whatever.
We're not gonna.
Yeah, so I think part of what's happening
It's like
in
a
those
guy
cases.
going down there dressed as a clown or something.
I mean, I think that's how like the most hardcore people would see it, but I think there is like a reasonable sort of like midpoint of like there's nothing wrong with like a drag show, but it's not a place for kids, kind of like a striptease perhaps, something like that.
It's weird that it's gotten tied into the like trans stuff because it's all.
It's very different. Yeah.
Because
it is not
like,
weird.
Yeah, cross-dressing is different from.
It's not weird because these are all tied together, right? Like, if you just treat it independently, yes, there are some concerns about some kinds of drag shows, and there should be like more emphasis put on like what is kid friendly and what isn't. Let's agree to that, and then like let's keep things in the kid appropriate realm. That's like fair, right?
Yeah.
But what's the reason why like libs of TikTok is concerned about this, right, isn't just that. It's because this ties into like anti-LGBTQ stuff in general, and like
probably true.
Like groomer narratives in general. All of this is tied together because a lot of conservatives are like transphobic and homophobic, right, and misogynistic, and I think a lot of these issues are like implicated by those attitudes. So like it's not surprising at all to me that those are tied together in the minds of conservatives, when the people who aren't homophobic, or at least less homophobic, less transphobic, less misogynistic, these would be independent issues. Like drag people aren't necessarily trans people don't necessarily do drag. Like these are different phenomena.
Shit, Lactone, I guess we just proved inadvertently You're pro-trans. There we go, everybody.
So woke.
We pro trans in here?
Yeah, pretty
Black
much.
Toy without Promptum was like, yeah, being
Yeah,
hold
of
on,
course.
let's not get
Of course
carried
we got
away.
We did it. Black Toy is woke.
What percentage of people that you guys think are commonly labeled as like anti-trans are actually just like having issues with language?
I would say it's probably a majority.
I would
I'm
say
always
it's like
hesitant.
upwards of 80%.
Yeah, yeah.
Ever since that thing came out where it's like, a lot of people think there's like more, like people, more trans people, and also
And there
by
actually
extension other groups, yeah. Cause like people were polled and they think like 10% of the population's trans.
No, they think 20% of the population.
No, it's
Wait,
37%.
20? What?
Yeah, they think it's 20. Like Destiny
And
threw
I started
this
looking
poll on his
into it.
channel.
Like, cause I always thought like Muslims, for example, were like 8% of the population. No, 2%.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I mean,
we
on the
think
one hand, maybe you should see this as a victory for
So,
representation in media, right?
so part of me wants to be like,
People
I
are now
think that-
forming misimpressions about how
I think
prevalent
the
these
anti-pronoun
characteristics
people
are.
are
Like, well
honestly
done,
probably
mission
like
accomplished.
2%, well, 1%, probably even less.
Well, so the thing about the trans population, it's I forget what exactly it is, but I know
It's like
that
not even a percent.
well, it is more than 1% now because it's been doubling. So
I think it's like
Generation Z.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
people who identify as trans, that's more than a percent.
Yeah.
But people who actually go through with it, not a percent.
Well,
I honestly don't see how
What do
you
you
can't.
actually go through? it?
yeah, I was
Ooh,
gonna
smelling
say
some
I don't
true
know.
scum.
Uh-oh.
Ugh, smells like turf in here.
Yeah.
Listen. As a non-binary, non-binaries are not trans. Okay. Like,
Speaking of non-binary, it took me so long to realize NB, spelled out ENBY,
NB, yeah.
was
NBI,
NB as in
ENBI.
non-binary. I was like, for years, just like, what the fuck is an
That's really funny.
Wait, what does that mean?
NBI? It means non-binary.
So NB, the abbreviation, like the two letters, stands for non-binary. But when people write it out, they don't write NB; they write ENBY or
Oh,
ENBIE or something.
It's like
So
I've played.
they're phoneticizing the initialism.
It's like I've played Fallout New Vegas, right, for years. Played it a million times. And it wasn't until like last year when I was playing it, I looked at the sign in Novak and realized like, oh shit, the fucking town's named after the no vacancy. That's really clever. I'm dumb.
No,
I do
I
think,
don't get
I think
that
my
now
only,
either.
I think one of my criticisms of the kind of current LGBTQ
yeah, get it right.
account of gender is that I feel like it really conflates gender non-conforming with non-binary and trans and queer. Like,
Yeah.
so because it seems weird to me, like when I was a kid, I really wanted to have a purse, right? And so I like watched Indiana Jones, and I was
Hell
like,
yeah.
Yes,
that
I
leather
always wanted
satchel,
the little satchel, yes.
fucking cool, and like, oh, you can get like buckles on them. And then I was told like, oh, that's like a woman thing. You don't get to do that. And to me, it just seems
It's like, fuck you, call
it
Indiana
seems
Jones a woman.
alienating. It seems alienating to me to be like, oh, you have a queer identity, or that component of your identity is queer because it doesn't fit into these norms. And like, I agree that it doesn't fit into the norms, but is that like, I don't know.
Yeah. Like
It
not
just
all
seems-
non-conforming behavior is like a sign of transness. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess I just worry about I guess I kind of analogize it to how anytime there's like two male friends, they get shipped as being
Yeah, they
like
gotta
queer.
be gay. And it's like, what, dudes can't be friends?
Yeah, and
This
like
is why we get
or there's
toxic
like a
masculinity.
masculine presenting woman and it's like, "Oh, well, it's a trans woman, right?"
Yeah.
And I understand that like, well, there's a huge dearth of representation for that kind of stuff, and being able to take something that's huge in popular media and be like, oh, maybe I can like relate to this person along this axis. That'd be really cool. Like, I'd appreciate that character even more. I can understand that impulse, but I feel like what gets lost in the shuffle there is like, it's important for men to be able to have close, intimate, platonic
Yeah.
friendships.
Like
100%.
Kirk and Spock, yeah, and like those two are famously shipped together.
Yeah.
But I think like the reason for like why that started was that there was a lack of like gay representation in media, so people were just
Yeah,
like,
so
all right,
where
well,
else are you going to find it? You
Well,
have to
I,
have
Yeah.
it there.
I see that, but I also think it comes down to like a hypersexualization of men. This sense of men are need to be like sexually charged
Only
whenever
time
they
they
have
could be interested in someone is if they wanted
exactly
to fuck their fuckholes.
exactly right, and so and I think that that's a cultural issue, honestly.
You know who's to blame? Tumblr.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, I think hashtag not all feminists. I think a lot of like second and third wave feminists did a lot of harm to the feminist movement when they insisted that like men are brutish. Like
Are we still on
if
third
you just
wave,
look,
or have we
we're in
finally
fourth
moved to
wave.
fourth?
Ever
We
ever
are-
since
we are?
we've been
Okay.
ever since we've had like TERFs are kind of like the last part of third wave feminism.
Mm.
If you look at the way that like
See,
if you look
that's
at
weird to
TERFs
me,
who are afraid of
'cause-
trans women and you look at the way that they describe their fear, they'll be like they're like knuckles, they're manly knuckles and like hair, right? And that like this is terrifying to them.
Yeah.
Like imagine
kinda-
being a man reading that. Like
That's
not
kinda
only
weird to me,
for
Molly, 'cause,
trans women
like,
who are being
Yeah, it's like, what's wrong
invalidated.
with my knuckles?
Yeah, it's like I'm not terrifying. I'm not
During my
brutish because
time-
of my body. Like so I think to me feminists have not done well in dispelling what I think are like reasonable complaints of like misandry
Yeah.
among feminists. And it's
That's
only
fair.
now that trans women are being exposed to it that suddenly the left is like taking all of this serious. Oh, maybe it is weird to like expect men to pay for shit, right? Maybe that is weird. We ignored it when cis men were saying it, but now that trans women are talking about their dating experience, now our ears are open. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
frustrating.
It's weird to me.
But I'm glad that
that,
my
like,
like trans men
TERFs
bros are like speaking up.
Yeah,
TERFs
trans men are so fucking based. Trans men are like the most based humans.
It is weird to me now that like TERFs are associated with third wave feminism, because when I was doing YouTube in like the dying days of the atheist community, when it was switching over from like going after the Christians to just general anti-SJW stuff, I remember all of the TERFs being second wave feminists, like weird radical Marxist feminists, like that have like 400 views and shit. People like Nuclear Knight or Diana Boston. Only like 5 people who watch this will probably ever fucking get those references.
So I have to go. So we're gonna be ending the stream, but everyone here is obviously free to stay here and just chat. And then also real quick to everybody in my stream, thank you so much for sticking around. It was a fun time. If you haven't given me a follow yet, please do. And we are going to raid on out to Stardust. So let's go ahead and do that. You guys all followed? Right?
I will take my speaking fee in rubles, please.
I thought
Alright,
this
can
was
we say
anti-communist.
slurs now? Are we
Not
off?
yet, not yet. No, hold on.
Okay,
One
sorry.
second, 1 second.
Just
It's-
eat,
Greetings,
you can't say
we-
slurs
we-
until after we're gone, okay?
all right.
Right, I have to go to raid too.
And wait, did it work? I'm using 2
Later,
computers now,
Gators.
so later. All right, it worked.